Champions, welcome! The stars have aligned. The festival is nigh.
Beast middle square.
All right, well, here we go. Rambler versus Shura, for real. And let's get away. Ratty said Falling Star Beast for center square. In that case, I will one-up you and take Full Grown as my center square guess.
I like that. We're covering all the bases there on Falling Star Beasts.
5 bosses in the Altus Plateau is the center square, so that's going to obviously promote Altus progression earlier, but definitely a later center square. Let's focus now, though, on the early ones. Vike Invader, depending on your weapon, can be done pretty early. Cemetery Shades, if there's synergy, can also be done early, as well as 4 Drake Talismans, another good map progression square. You can get them in Celia, Bofa Cave, very easy early on. Ruins bosses is going to be good for Altus synergy later. 4 Caves or Grottos is a bit high. If it was like 2 or 3, that one's pretty fast. 4 will sit for a bit. You probably want to find synergy, but there is synergy on the board with Box Needle in the same row too. In row 5, not anything super rushable, but we do have Raya's Hand of Volcano Manor. This is a very strong square as you're able to get a square while making your way to Altus, and that could combo very well with the 5 bosses in Altus / Mount Gelmir on the same row. In row 5, or row 4, my apologies, nothing super quick unless there is Heal or Catch Flame or something of that nature from Corrin for incants only. And then row 5 has the fastest square on the board, as well as probably the slowest one, with both Agil and Morgott in that same line. It does look like it's going to be a board that pushes Altus. There's a lot of potential Altus synergy, but also ways to do it earlier. Onyx Lord can be Altus or can be not. Smithing Stone Weapon plus 12, you could get Bell Bearings and actually combo that with Onyx Lord as well. Or you could just pick them up through the Makar Tunnel or Kaled. I think this is going to be an interesting one, honestly, depending upon how players value that center square, because there's ways that you can synergize it with Altus, or you can try to just snag things off beforehand. What is your take on the board, Ratty?
I mean, it's pretty diverse here. I was actually taking a look at the starting classes here. They have 2 square-off swords, 1 wieldable, so I was just looking to see if a Gil plus 0 was going to be a really good early push, although it looks like Rambler will be locking in that Noble Slender Sword, so I was looking at that early game. As for the rest of the game, I like Kaled actually a lot here for Sim Shades. There is the Bell-Bearing Hunter there if you want to sneak that in for a lot of runes as well. Your Drake Talisman XX, right? So I think getting that priority is good. Synergizing, obviously, Dragon Barrow Sorcery with Sim Shades is a play I always like to do. Outside of that, no region feels crazy strong to me immediately. Obviously, you're going to want to get to Altus on this board, but I don't know if it's as critical as it is some of the time. There's good synergy to claim late, obviously, in terms of if you wanted to do runes bosses, that would work really well with Gillica to also get an Altus boss. It's a little all over the place. There's room for creativity here, which I always like. I think Rambler might feel a little better about this board than maybe others he would play against Shura.
Yeah, and we see both players choosing the same starting class, but for slightly different reasons. It looks like Rambler here eyeing it mostly for that Claymore, a very strong smithing weapon. Rambler usually doesn't like to compete in the race these early rushes, especially against a player like Shura, who's just known so much for his speed. So Rambler just wanting that Claymore, nice smithing weapon, as well as decent stats on the class. Meanwhile, Shura here looking to use that Noble Slender Sword with Square Off. There is essentially a script that you can do against Agil to get that Agil plus 0 kill. And it looks like he's going to use the Noble Slender Sword for that. Also, obviously, there is a bit of stream delay between the two players. They are on the same, they're in the same real time. It is just a bit of delay. Shura did not false start or anything. Just, stream delay is what it is.
Yep. And actually looking at Shura's board here on my side screen, he has Agil and then Liurnia Boss incants only as his only 2 starred squares.
The only square Rambler has starred is Raya's Hand, so I actually think this is going to be the play from Rambler. Just probably rush deck to set up, either deck to set up or Makar, because you could get Smithing Stone Weapon plus 12 along the way with Makar, and just go for that Raya's Hand. Shura, though, probably going to be a bit more aggressive in the early game, which is kind of how I think I would have expected this game to go. Shura more aggressive early, Rambler thinking more about setting up for the late game.
definitely. And I mean, there is decent value, I guess, in getting to Altus early. I'm not sure if I fully agree with Rambler. That being said, he's a smarter bingo player than me, and he did make it to the playoffs, so I'm curious to see how this plays out for him.
It's a bold move, Cotton.
Oh, yeah. We'll see here how much Shura has practiced a Gil +0.
Yeah, I don't think
a lot of players, like one of our favorite squares. I could be wrong on that, but it feels like a one people love to race.
Rambler does a quick call, a check, nothing really there, and we'll go full screen with Shura here.
Gets the first square off to the head, over to the wing, barely clips it, and that will
but bad RNG. Agil flies away immediately.
He barely missed that wing.
Yeah. You know, if Rambler was contesting this would have been very bad news bears for Shura. This is mostly scripted. It's one of those things where it's like there is some RNG to it. There are things that you can do to control it. But you know, there always is that risk. I think that's one of the main reasons why some players don't like this square. Because if this was a race, that little flyaway would have cost you the race. Shura's been able to control it very well here and will still finish his fight.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, there it is. Never mind. Good riposte there.
And there is the square for Shura. Definitely not breaking any records with that.
No.
312, but honestly a very good recovery. That could have gone much worse. He very well could have died to that fire.
Or once he makes that space, he can also go into the flying move that can possibly take him up onto the cliff. So just getting a little lucky there, maybe, but also just unlucky to miss that small amount of, like, just barely miss the wing.
Yep.
Almost had the stagger off rip, and, like, I mean, he was inches from having it probably.
Yeah. So Rambler's going to know based on that time that Shura did go for a Gil. He's also going to know that he messed it up a little bit. If it was too much slower, he might have thought that he got Torrent first if it was another 40 seconds slower or something. But given that 312 sign, that 312 time is pretty obvious. Like, okay, he went for a Gil, maybe got some bad RNG, but did it off rip without Torrent. So Rambler knows that he has a map progression lead, and we can see him immediately running the smithing route. Smithing route is a bit slower for setup, but you get your smithing stones and you get a weapon online. I also think it's just a great insurance policy. Somber weapons can be a bit more of a lottery. There are not as many good ones. While on almost every board, you're going to find a usable smithing weapon. Additionally, one thing that I don't think is talked about as much is the stat requirements on smithing weapons are not nearly as high for the most part, because none of them need, almost none of them need like faith in arcane. And as a result, you don't really have to worry about the stats part of getting it online, but collecting the stones is more difficult.
Great sword check is a dud. Gargoyle's great sword, so
you know,
usable weapon, but not what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad greatsword. I quite like running it early, but you have Claymore, which is just better.
Yeah. And either of them even looking at Box Needle.
No, that doesn't surprise me. I think people have different takes on Box Needle. I don't love that square. It is very fast, of course, and you do get the Beach Merchant check, which can come into play on dry weapon seeds. We saw that yesterday in the set between Helios and Stacco. Helios was able to get that rotten staff from the merchant there, which helped him a lot in game number 1. But it's a massive, it's of the early squares, it is a much larger time investment. Still not a big one, but just comparatively. And you don't really get a ton of runes or map progression. The only reason I'd be thinking about it here is because it does synergize. It is a cave, right? So you're able to get a square and a cave. It's effectively worth 1.25 squares as long as you do complete the cave square.
Yep. And yeah, that is really the only reason to do it. There's not much else there. So it's kind of was maybe a rush option. It might end up sitting for quite a while now, though.
Yeah. We're actually going to see Rambler here do a quick tops check does find Night Maiden's Mist, which is a sorcery that he likes a lot. It's not as splashable, like it's not as generally effective as other sorceries, but particularly on the Putrid Avatar in Caelid, not the one in Dragon Barrow, the one in Caelid, it is very nice. That what the Night Maiden's Mist does is puts out a mist that is just a flat damage over time. And on a low-scaled and large boss, it does quite well. Not as good on things like the Cemetery Shade or something. They're too small and they move too much, but Erdtree Avatar, fantastic.
And something to keep in mind if a lot of the other sorceries here end up having high requirements, because ideally you want to kill the Sim Shade probably for that Caelid Dragon Barrow boss sorcery only. But if that's not feasible or reasonable, pivoting out to the Avatar is your next best bet.
Yeah, Rambler just continuing to grab his smithing stones, doing these little merchant checks, right? So if it was something that would be very good for him, but regardless, still gets his stones here.
And we're seeing how fast Shura here. He is not that far behind him anymore.
Well, yeah, he's not that far behind, but Rambler's also doing a lot of like little things, right?
Yeah.
He checked Kale. He's grabbing smithing stones. He's checking other merchants. He grabbed the sacred tier, right? So Shura's not too far behind in actual like location, but has not done these kind of little checks that Rambler has early. And we will see the first roundtable check of the game here from Shura. Gonna get incants from Corrin. We'll see what he has.
I like the early Corrin check.
Rambler is also gonna grab this ritual pot. There is Black Flame. Black Flame's probably your best bet, but it's still 20 faith. It's not a great one early. Actually, we'll see. Keep it here. We'll see what roundtable has. Nothing. I mean, there's Zamors.
Yep.
Zamors is very good if you know how to use it. Also, Nagakiba is a great smithing weapon. I think that's okay for Rambler, though, because it's nothing so, like... Zamors is very good. Yeah, but it's not so overpowered that it's a situation where it's like, I need to just abandon the smithing route and use this weapon.
Yeah. I mean, a Death's Poker would probably force you into that. A
Death's Poker, Alabaster, Dragon Scale, Dragon Halberd, Dragon Hunters. Zamors can be oppressive, but it depends upon like how you know how to use it. And also, one of the things about Zamors is I think it is a bit more setup oriented. The Ash of War is very strong, but it also takes a long time to get off. So as a result, you often have to tank a hit in order to get the Ash off. So while it is a great weapon, if you're at super low levels of Vig health, then it's very difficult because you really do sometimes need to trade to get that Ash off.
Definitely. Not ideal, but functional. Looks like Shura is looking at that box needle play early now. Maybe just throwing in the merchant check here, but that would be very
And it is Starfist. So pretty much universal best smithing weapon in the game, in my opinion, at least. If you know how to use it, best smithing weapon.
Yeah, it's not even if you know how to use it. That's just the best weapon in the game, period. Like,
yeah.
You're looking for something that's good across the board that's never really going to let you down. That's it.
Yeah. Great damage, great poise damage, fast. You can get dual status with the bleed on it, and you can put Hoarfrost Stomp. Very strong weapon, and especially for Shura. Shura is... If you're part of Team Hitless, you might not know him because he doesn't really submit a lot of his stuff, but very accomplished no-hit runner, very comfortable with the spiky balls.
Yeah. I mean, comfortable in most boss fights, so give him a good weapon and good luck, right?
Yeah, we will see.
This could be a big problem. Rambler might be smart enough to see the box needle mark here, though, and go throw that check in.
We will see. Shura here is going to go in for box needle. So he just needs to finish this boss fight and talk to Bach right after, and that is the square complete.
Yeah, these are disgusting here. Holy. What was it? 2 hits to stagger?
Yep.
No.
2 hits to stagger, riposte, and 2 more to kill.
That is a 5-hit combo to murder a boss. That's insane. Insane for a +0. Not really insane for Elden Ring, let's be honest.
Not the fastest here, sure, is getting interrupted by the little demi-humans. But
Yeah, the minions causing a little problem, but like
he's
not enough to
comfortable.
matter for the big boys.
Yep. All right, so he will go ahead and return the needle and take a 2-0 lead, but Rambler does have a big advantage on map and actually the smithing stone upgrades here. Rambler for going for Celia skip, messed it up slightly, but a great recovery by him.
Rambler with the Celia skip that's rare.
Yeah, he doesn't do
that.
Celia skip often, but I think he, you know, we talked actually, this was when he thought he was going to be out. No real thoughts from Rambler there. But we talked before, like after he was eliminated, and he was like, I like my play style in the way that I play, right? Like with the later game focus, and, you know, that's like how I play. I don't want to fundamentally change how I play. But he did say, like, I think I need to take on more risks. I like with skips and things like that, just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Recognizing that like the level of the players is so high that you can't just outsmart them and win. Right. Like they're too smart, too fast, right? Like even if Rambler's smarter, right? Which I mean he's one of the best board readers in the world, right? If not the best. When it comes to like there's only so much time you can make up that way. And when everyone's so hyper optimized with little skips and things, you can't always make up that much time, especially when they're playing well.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the level is just too high, and I think Rambler is probably the most conservative player. And for good reason, he's very smart about what he's doing, as you said, but I think everyone else is smart enough that like, and they know that they're going to be fast enough to kind of mitigate the advantage you're getting out of that. So him taking on more risk, making more bold plays, and sticking with his play style is probably exactly what he needs to do in the playoffs if he wants to win, right?
Yeah. Especially because like he didn't expect to be here after losing to Dino. He did think his season was over, right? So in a way, it's like fuck it, right? You're playing with house money.
Yeah. And Shura maybe also looking at the smith. I mean, he has to be looking at the smithing route now, right? It's kind of hard to ignore.
Yeah, it's Starfist.
12 once you find Starfist.
I do find it interesting though. Rambler is going Dectus here, rather than just killing Makar and doing the smithing route that way. My guess is that he's looking at the synergy with the Onyx Lord boss in Altus and getting smithing's plus 12 that way. So the idea is going to be get a plus 6 early, then use Dectus to get to Altus, get the bell bearing 2, or the smithing stone bell bearing 2, kill Onyx Lord, and get your smithing 12 that way.
Yeah. That'll create a pretty solidly starting to build a threat there on row 4. Sorcery only and incants only also on the row makes that very awkward, but let your opponent worry about those 2 squares maybe.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Playing with house money, it's like a poker phrase. Basically, it means like, you know, normally with poker, you have to buy in yourself, right? Like you gotta put your money on the line. Playing with house money means like the house bought you in, like someone else is paying for you to be there, right? So you don't have anything personally at risk. Yeah. Obviously, that's not exactly true because, you know, Rambler, you know, has his season on the line here, but he did think his season was over and now it's back, right? So in that sense, he's kind of playing with house money.
Didn't expect to be here, but here we are.
Yeah.
Shura picking up the key and moving to Crystallian Woods for his smithing 3 pickup.
Mm-hmm.
Standard here out of him. Rambler is going to have quite a bit of map presence, though.
Yeah, he really is. Saboki, thank you so much for the bits and for the house money. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tossing the house money on over to Who's, dude.
And I think Shura here is actually going to go to finish up Caves and Drakes here. So it's good synergy because you can do the Rune Bear Cave as well as the Bofa Cave. That's 2 more caves, bringing him up to 3. He can also get 2 Drake Talismans out of that. If he wants to go rush caves, he can also grab the Hail Drake Talisman, the Holy Drake, and finish, and then just go kill Rick for his final cave. But this is going to be very interesting late here. Obviously, Shura is going much more aggressive early, while 17 minutes in, Rambler doesn't have a square, but I don't think he cares. This is kind of what he planned for.
Yeah, and you do also thank you, Spokey, for the bits as well on my end. As we see Shura absolutely annihilating this Bofa, this is something where Rambler is going to want to start being a little careful. There's something to be said about losing maybe too many early game squares and needing a little bit too ideal of an end game to win.
Yeah.
Especially because as you get these squares, like, you're not getting a lot of runes, but you are getting runes, which can end up being another problem.
Very nice Bofa kill there. But, like, look, Rambler already has full Dectus. And he's going to be going to Altus now. Going to be able to make some threats here. Like, there is something to be said for Rambler, right? Even though his squares are slower, his square, like, he's getting a lot more out of his squares. Sure is just going for squares. Rambler here, though, going to get Raya's Hand and Altus access at the same time. Going to get Smithing plus 12, which is a square and a weapon upgrade, even though it might not be Starfist, right? Still, Claymore is actually an incredible smithing weapon. As well as Fire Prelate and Fort Lied here. Like, row 3 could be a potential push for Rambler. There's some options, and he can make some threats here. There's no, kind of unfortunately for sure, I don't think there's any one line that's like so early rushable that it's going to significantly hinder Rambler's game plan here.
I don't know if I brought it up earlier, but row 1 is kind of in that direction. Like, it is awkwardly fast. It's not really a great push, but it could be done very quickly. Yeah,
I think row 1, if I'm Rambler, would be a concern, but I would feel confident with my ability to block it because I'm going Dectus, right? So I'm next to Vike. Also, Ruins bosses, while it's very doable without Altus, it is much faster with Altus because you can get Gillica and the Sanguine Noble. Those are 2 very easy, very free bosses, and they're very close to each other as well. Also, will synergize with the Altus boss's center square. So I'm sure that's something Rambler looked at and was concerned about, but I do think he probably came to the conclusion that, all right, I should be safe to block this.
That's why I said it's awkward fast. Like, it is fast if you pushed it hard, but I mean, it's very easy to block. Rune Bear versus Starfists. If I was a gambling man, be a lot of money on Starfists here. They're doing a pretty good job here, kind of staying under and kind of behind into the side of the Rune Bear. Makes your dodges really free, and you can even strafe out of the way of a lot of the attacks.
Yeah.
That should about be the fight here on this riposte. One more hit. And that's a third cave, second Drake Talisman.
Yeah. I'm curious what you think, Reddy. Like, coming into this season, we talked about how clean, like, Shura's fights and stuff were, but I do feel like we saw a lot more mistakes early on. I don't think than we do now. I honestly don't think it's because of, like, he's gotten that much better, but I think it's just more comfort, right? I think we saw some uncharacteristic mistakes because of the pressure of Bingo. One thing about Bingo that I noticed when I first started playing, like, there's so much more to think about, right? Because, like, you're thinking about the board, you're thinking about what your next move is, you're thinking about your opponent, right? What they're doing. I mean, also, obviously, the pressure of being in this sort of a game, with a live stream and everything. It's so much different than, like, a no-hit run or even a rando race where it's like, okay, just kill boss, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, it stayed my biggest issue. It was something I never really quite managed to clean up, was like making decisions well than focusing in on what I'm doing without worrying too much about everything else. Like, I think what you want to do is pick your line, keep track of your opponent, right, are the two biggest things, and then execute well. But it can be hard to execute. Like, you can get into a fight and still be thinking about what you might want to do after. Like, it's very easy to get ahead of yourself and kind of get distracted. And you're, I mean, low vig, low damage for all these fights. Like, you really cannot afford that. But the same issue comes up in the other direction where you focus a little too much on fights and routings, and you get whatever square you're going for, and you're like, oh, I didn't plan enough. Like, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing next. So dealing with all of that is like, it's a skill, right? You kind of need to be, like, you need to be efficient on the board, but you need to be efficient in your head too, in terms of what you're thinking about, how you're focusing. Like, it was something I never cleaned up, and I think Shura has actually done a really good job of that, where initially he might have been a little scattered. And at this point, I think he's very decisive. He executes as you would expect him to a little more now. Like, you don't see maybe some of those mistakes he was making early. And I mean, that's what makes him, we said it when he joined the league, like, if Shura actually learns how to play bingo, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah. And to be fair, winning helps with confidence, right? And Shura, that's what he's been doing. Since the qualifiers in week 1, all he's done is win 7 in a row, right? Because especially with like any mental sport, right, in bingo is very much so that like confidence matters a lot. Also interesting that so Rambler bought Somber 1 through 4 and then upgraded Claymore. I'm not. It was interesting. I'm not sure if it was a mistake or just like insurance.
Insurance, I would have to imagine. That seems like Rambler maybe hedging his bets here.
Or maybe he was thinking about getting Zamor and upgrading that, but forgot he bought it. So that could be a factor as well. Because I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, buying Sombers 1 through 4. I mean, his stats are good enough, right?
Yeah.
Like,
the int tier was for, I mean, there are very good int weapons, but realistically it was for sorcery only in the future. Yes, he has seen Zamor's at round table.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that either when you said that.
Yeah, he did check incants and round table.
I mean, Zamor is actually, like, that's a weapon you can kind of always pair with your build. The stat requirements aren't crazy, and 1 Ash of War generally procs Frost, so it's like having a +4 Zamor just to get some really good chunk damage at the beginning of a fight and a Frost proc, and then you shift to your next weapon is never a bad thing. And especially if you were to go bleed on the Claymore, maybe like a Bloody Slash.
Or just keep it standard, and that way you can keep Lion's Claw but still get the Frost, right?
True.
Because Claymore's so good that, like, Lion's Claw is just so powerful, but on just keeping it stock with Lion's Claw and it scales decently well is quite strong. Rambler also buys Moonrathol's Night Sword there for Colossal Armaments only. Might have been another reason for the int tier there.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it looks like that was the play. Like, I remember I haven't really played around with Claymore a lot in bingo because I'm a Neanderthal who doesn't like to learn the smithing route. But in rando, like, a lot of times if I get Claymore, I will, like, even if I can infuse it with cold or something, I will just run it stock because Lion's Claw is so powerful.
Especially early game. Like, into mid game, even you can get away with Lion's Claw kind of looping enemies, depending on which enemies we're talking about.
Rambler might be looking at Colossal Armaments only now.
That is probably the most snipeable square here for Shura that isn't X-Ikes. I mean, you're essentially forcing him into X-Ikes, which might not be a bad thing, right?
Yeah. And Shura is getting deep in Liurnia, but still quite far away from Altus. He doesn't have any Dectus progression. He could go kill Makar and smithing +12. That would be the concern for me. Letting Shura take smithing +12 on you, it would be a big concern with Rambler's line of play. You know, I think it's very important that, like, you're getting the most valuable squares in terms of getting set up plus progression at the same time. But we'll see Margit here for Rambler.
Yeah, and this could be another reason for upgrading Zamor's. Like, this becomes a very, very free fight.
And you make most of the runes you spent back.
Yeah. Because, yeah, plus zero Claymore here would have made this fight a lot longer, and there's really no reason to be wasting time when you can have something like this online.
One more. Rambler needs one more hit.
Should get right
And
here
mark it
off
down.
the base. Beautiful.
I'm curious if we do see a pivot from Rambler here. I think his internal clock needs to be ticking and will be. The fact that Shura hasn't marked anything. We are now 27 minutes into the game. Shura hasn't marked anything since 12:06. Like, anytime you give a player 15 minutes, it's very difficult.
100%. It's also, I mean, if you're a Shura,
Brady,
like,
do you want
what
to
do you
check your
think Rambler?
stream?
Nice home screen. Stream looks good.
All right. Just want to double check.
Bro, mods, as always, throwing weird shit at me, so I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on. Damn it, one guy, I trust you implicitly.
I saw that too. I was like, Ratty, everything good? Rambler might be looking at the Drake talismans here.
Yeah. Drake talismans. I mean, yeah, Shura's not that far ahead.
No, not really. Yeah, so Rambler does just grab that Drake and pivot.
I did see someone say it in chat, but yeah, if Rambler could snag X-Ikes and Colossal,
Yeah, the line's very scary.
in Shura's wise words, it's almost unstoppable, right?
Yeah. The problem is, I think Shura is going to just go Makar into Altus here.
Yeah, he's
'Cause-
snagging his last Somber 2s he'll need.
Smithing
If
twos.
smithing 2s. And then I believe he has all the 3s and 1s already.
All right, Rambler here going for Bofa now.
Little Bofadese. Oh, gets knocked out of the Ash of War, actually.
But gets it down easily.
Yeah.
And Shura now going to finish Drake's as well. This could be a race.
It's gonna be close. Is that, what, 2 Drakes each?
Yes, Shura's about to grab the third. Rambler's not far behind. But did Shura already grab the one in Celia, actually? Shura's at 3.
Yeah.
Shura did grab the one in Celia. This will be a bad snipe for Rambler.
And I don't even know if that was necessarily the wrong move from Rambler. You probably wanted to get something early, but unfortunately it was the wrong time and the wrong square.
Yeah. Yeah, Shura's very good with like his pivots. He will recognize that he has a lead on something and then come back to it later.
Yeah. That was actually really good.
Yeah.
He's also going to finish up caves here, and this is kind of what I was worried about initially. If you sell too much early board presence, right? Too many early squares, it starts to be troublesome to make your late game play.
Well, Rambler here's
4-0 is
but
not
Rambler here's
great.
going for X-Ikes.
It is the right move. He might have to just start looking kind of at row 3 as his win condition.
I mean, he
Little
does have
early
this
for that,
line.
but-
He really does kind of have it set up though, because he has
Yeah.
Altus set up. If he goes and gets X-Ikes down now, he also has Margit set up, and he most importantly has the tiers and things to get Moonrithals online, the Colossal at Round Table. Yeah.
Yeah, this is... I mean, Shura has to recognize after this row 3, you hope.
Yeah, no, so I think Snowy's right, like in his assessment. Like Raya, the fact that Raya's hand and stuff wasn't marked at around like mid 20 minutes, right? I think it kind of like that was Shura's trigger point, right? Like these players who do pivot back and like figure out things later, they typically have some sort of like metric that they look for in their head. Like I think Raya's hand, it can go as soon as like 21 minutes if you're assuming that a player is also doing smithing route as well. You would expect it to go maybe 25 to 28 minutes. The fact that it still was not on the board, that's like the fact that it's still not on the board and it's like 28 minutes. It's like, all right, go. Like go finish Drakes, go finish Caves, don't get sniped because he's not hard rushing this like you might be expecting.
Was that +7 or +8 balls there for sure?
I believe +7. Now Zamor's is going to be very good on Exikes.
Yep. You do need Exikes to not troll you, which is asking for quite a lot. So I believe Shura is also kind of looking at this same idea.
Either that or a row 2 rush with Lion Guardians and Gruesome Light Misbegotten Warrior duo.
Yeah,
Rambler, use the Ash more. The Ash has upward range.
Yeah, that would have been the spot to use it. Good torrent tech right there.
Really?
I mean, XX is also actually just a pretty ideal square for Shura in terms of blocks right now.
And Rambler's going to quit out here and reset the fight. It's going to
cause problems.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty even between Rambler and Shura. And if you think back,
Shura has frosty balls, so I would actually put damage in his favor.
You know what? And actually, if historically speaking, the matchup between Shura and Ellie, right? That one was basically decided. You were also on the call due to XX. Shura's execution was just better.
I mean, he can't afford to let too much go here, and he doesn't know how far ahead Rambler is, but even with this lead Rambler's already got here, it's going to be... Oh, there's a stagger. It's going to be closer,
there's a big stagger. Oh my god. Oh, I guess that was a frost, but the damage on the balls, keep in mind he's also going to bleed as well. Rambler does get the phase transition here in a bit of an awkward spot because he has to run around this rock. Now, Shura is also getting trolled.
Yep. What do you do when you're getting trolled like this? You're sure apparently you just like find the one spot you can hit the boss and get lucky and he immediately jumps right back down. That's pretty ideal.
Yeah, we see Rambler missing 2 jump R2s on the head there.
This is gonna... Oh, it's gonna be close now.
Yeah, Shura gets a bleed.
And Shura is way ahead.
Now he's gonna get the phase transition though. Rambler needs another stagger, and he might need to just kill off this stagger. There's the stagger.
Don't think he'll have enough damage here.
He misses the riposte. Oh no. This is very bad for Rambler. Rambler really needs this. Rambler keeps missing jump R2s on the head.
Shura is actually probably really close to a stagger right here.
Yeah.
With this stomp, he should get it.
Misses the jump R2 though. Misses again.
Oh.
Shura gets the stagger. No, he doesn't. That was a flyaway. I misspoke.
That's crazy. I mean, if either of them gets a stagger right now, they have it. Shura might not even need it. Oh,
I think Rambler gets a kill. Stagger. And Rambler gets a square. He barely sniped Shura.
Oh.
You can hear the sound. That was when the mark appeared on the board, right as Shura delivered the finishing kill. Very close snipe for Rambler, but huge.
Yeah.
Rambler absolutely needed that. If he didn't get that, that probably would have been just GG.
Yeah, both players got a little trolled there. Like, I think Shura missed 3 or 4 jump R2s on back-to-back stomps. But Rambler had the same thing happen earlier. That was really close.
Looks like Rambler's looking Lion Guardians now.
Rambler could kind of take control of where Shura's going here if he builds this column 4 and row 3, right?
Yeah, so Shura has not been in Altus yet, so if he is thinking Lion Guardians, he has to run all the way through the castle, Redmane Castle.
Yep.
Rambler's not finishing Lion Guardians, though. He's going to go move towards Colossal. I mean, I think this is fine, though, because Rambler has put himself in a position to set him up well for 2 separate lines. Either column 4 or row 3. I actually think row 3 is much better. I don't love getting into a Morgott race with Shura and relying on that to win.
I mean, also if he gets Colossals here and just goes to row 3.
Yeah. That's why I prefer row 3 over column 4, because Rambler has a much bigger lead on Altus in the other 3 squares in row 3 than he does necessarily on Morgott. Especially with that being later, like mind games, and the more fighting and longer the square is, the more time Shura is gonna make up.
Yeah. I mean, Shura is gonna have to, after this Colossal pop, go get both Dectus halves or go Makar. I think both Dectus halves will be faster.
Yeah.
And then go from Rhea all the way to Dectus, which is like, you get a pretty good head start. You can probably get Rise Hand and Fire Prelit. I don't know if you will have time to get 5 Altus bosses uncontested.
Well, yeah, like we might get in a situation where we just have the both players racing lines. It's like who's faster, row 2 or row 3. Like Shura's going to be able to finish most of like everything but Gargs on row 3 in Redmane Castle and also set himself up for Radahn, right? But Rambler already has full Dectus, so basically what he needs to do is like do Raya's Hand, just go up the lift into Altus, and then do Fire Prelate and 5 Altus bosses. So a lot more killing for Rambler there in terms of the number of bosses. But yeah, this Valiant Gargs being so late, and I really think this might just turn into a line race.
Yeah, Valiant Gargs is the issue with that.
Yeah.
Right. Radahn plus all that, you have to get into Altus, like it could maybe be fast enough, but I almost doubt it.
And the Crucible Knight, if Shura does go Crucible Knight Misbegotten Warrior duo right here, it's going to tell Rambler a lot. Given Shura's early square pace, getting 4 squares early, right, and then doing Crucible Knight Misbegotten Warrior duo at this time, it's going to pretty much tell Rambler that I don't have Altus. Like, there's no way that he could have killed Radahn fast enough.
Godric is going down quick here for Rambler.
Yeah.
I mean, he
did upgrade the Moon Rituals. Also, Shura is going for Lion Guardians, but this is when the festival is not active, so it's definitely tricky here because I really haven't seen this done very much with the festival active. I know, isn't there an Abductor Virgin or something around here as well?
He's up top. I don't think it can get down to you. Should just have to worry about the 2 lions in the courtyard now that he's dealt with the flamethrower guys.
Rambler gets the Colossal done.
If that doesn't spook Shura, I don't know what will.
Yeah, because I expect Rambler's either here going to go finish Lion Guardians or just go straight to Raya's Hand. It does look like the play will be Raya's Hand. Rambler going back to South Raya Lucaria Gate, so he's going to go Murder Boggart to get the necklace, and then just go straight into Altus.
Yep. It's the right play. Was concerned Rambler was maybe wasting a little too much time, but he is going to get back a lot of the ground he's lost on this bingo board here.
And Shura has to be whooping himself a bit because he doesn't know, like, Rambler could be very deep into Altus for all you know, right?
You have to assume he's in Altus if you're in Shura's position, which is a bit scary.
Also, very smart by Rambler to hold on Raya's hand. Very risky, right?
Yep.
But if your idea is to send the line, it's smart. Because...
yeah, you kind of have to.
Yeah, it alerts him to the line much
telegraphs
later.
Too much. As soon as Raya's hand pops here, if you're in Shura's position, like, your only move is to rush into Altus.
Yeah. Like, Rambler's seeing Lion Guardians, and then he's going to see Crucible Knight Misbegotten Warrior duo right now. I really do think this is just straight up a line race. I think both players are going to race their lines.
Yeah.
With Raya's hand marking when it is, I'd be shocked to see Shura try to contest either of the squares on row 3. The only one I could realistically see him contesting is if Rambler lets Prelate sit for so long, but Shura still has to either go through Makar or get full Dectus, or I guess Abductor Virgins to get into Altus. Rambler is there. He's at the lift. I think he has the Grace at the lift. If not, he at least has Bellum. Shura bought Black Flame. I think he's looking at Incants only. I don't think Shura recognizes how devastating this threat is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to when Raya's hand marks. You know, the other thing to say, like, Rambler is very, very dangerous in these spots. Going back to season 1 of Elden Squares, in season 1, only 6 players made playoffs, so the 1 seeds got a bye, and then the 2 seed played the 3 seed from opposite divisions. Rambler was the underdog against Dino and beat him 2-0, actually, in that set.
Right.
Rambler, very, very dangerous in these playoff spots. He does have a great ability to kind of calm his emotions and just play bingo in a way that's very difficult and tough to replicate.
And actually, I want to point this out. Is the move here for Shura to go for row 1 if you're going to race a line, if you feel like that's the situation you're in?
The only problem with row 1 is that realistically with 5 Altus bosses, you're always doing Gillica and Sanguine Noble. So,
yep.
Like, as a result, if Rambler does see a row 1 push, he can very easily stop that with Pumpkinhead and then just continue building his threat at a very marginal time loss to him.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest issue is Shura's about to do Incants only, it looks like.
Yeah. I think if you were going to try to do row 1, you would probably need to set up Vike, start with Ruins bosses, go Ruins bosses into Vike that way. But I don't know if there's enough time because Raya's hand's about to pop here. Shura's going for Crucible Knight Misbegotten Warrior duo. And I don't think you can mark this square if you're Shura, because if he does this, it gives Rambler the green light to just go for it, I think.
Yeah.
Unless Rambler gets too in his own head and thinks that Shura is in Altus, marking Crucible Knight Misbegotten Warrior duo just says, hey, Rambler, I'm not in Altus. Like, go do this. Like, go bingo my ass.
Yeah. And I can't see the board timings, but what was the gap between Lion Guardians and the last mark?
Lion Guardians was marked at 41 minutes. The square before that was 31 minutes. It was Caves. You know, the other thing, too, here is, you know, something Rambler said, like, Rambler has built up a reputation for majority, and he does play kind of the game within the game, the Book of War, right?
Yep.
I know from talking to Rambler personally, he said, like, I like to go for bingos, but, you know, at the right time. And if there was ever a time for Rambler, someone who's seen as a, you know, majority player, to rush a bingo, it would be now. Right, game 1 of the playoffs. You're especially against an opponent who's never played a playoff game before, probably least expecting it.
I mean, yeah, this would be a really hot start to the playoffs here.
Yeah. And obviously, set's not over, but it would be like the first upset of the playoffs, right? First time the lower seeded player has beaten the higher seeded one. And we'll have to see how Shura can respond. Shura's an incredible. If Rambler does get this done, Shura's an incredible player. Obviously, 7-1. But You never want to be down 1-0, especially you don't have a week to process it. You got to turn around quick.
Yeah. Crucible fight going very well.
Yeah.
For sure here. Rambler did clean up Gillica there.
I think he's going to go Gillica just straight into Prelate. Prelate's the most snipeable square, the more snipeable square.
Yeah.
It's possible he does till this Tibia. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, and there's the green light for Rambler if he reads this right. He actually pivots into Moonrithel's Night Sword here, not liking Zamor. Probably the right choice here.
Yeah, because the Tibias can't frost, so.
Yep, there's more damage, more staggers. I think we're going to see the mythical and rare Rambler bingo here. Shura's got a lot of work to do if he wants to catch this, and I don't
It's
think
very
he has
possible,
time.
but you know, the one thing I will say for Rambler is that he has been known to overthink things. Like he even said on commentary yesterday, sometimes I do, like I was talking about how smart he is as a player, but he was like, well, sometimes I do overthink things to my own detriment, right? This is a spot where don't think, just go, right? Like do Gillica, do Tibia, straight to Prelate, and then 3 quick Altus bosses. Like that's what it needs to be, right? Don't worry about anything Shura's marking, like just go.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be hard to overthink. I'm at 2 Altus bosses. I just need 3 after I get Fire Prelate. I think it's going to be very hard to justify not doing that.
And I'm sure Rambler has probably mapped out in this situation what like the 5 fastest possible Altus bosses would be. My guess would be, I think the Tibia, Sanguine Noble, and Gillica are definites. Maybe after that you could do Wormface and the Crystallian duo. You could do one of those 2 in the Night Cav. Probably like Onyx Lord is a square, but like in Rambler's situation, you can't be worried about that right now. There's only 2 squares on the board that matter to you. Fire Prelate. Well, 3 squares, because obviously if Shura gets guards, right? But essentially, you know, for you, only 2 squares that matter. Could maybe make an argument for the Kumbug duo in this spot, because they are pretty quick. You could also make an argument for the Magma Worm and Mount Gelmir here, because it is right next to this fort, and it's not the longest fight in the world.
And did you mention Wormface in there?
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, I do like the kind of the play of going Gillica, Tibia, Sanguine Noble, go kill Wormface, and then the Crystallian duo right after Wormface.
Yeah. That's probably the most efficient routing.
I think that's what I would do.
Crystallians with the Colossal.
Yeah.
You can maybe put on Zamors after you stagger them, but you'll get the fast stagger with it, so.
Yeah. Knight's Cav is also a very viable option. Like, I haven't timed these things. I'm kind of just going off my head, right? Like, it's not
Knight's
my job.
Cav's good.
Yeah, Knight's Cav's good.
Would be the only thing. And if he stalls long enough, some ads get involved, which is annoying.
It depends on other things too, like how's your comfortability with Wormface. Some people really struggle with him because he is a very unique boss, right? Via the Deathblight mechanic. Do you have good poise damage?
Back on Wormface, right? That's the key question.
Yeah. I mean, there's Prelate down already. This Moonrithel's is going crazy. Yeah, there's no way 5 bosses is slower than Guard to this. Rambler already has 2 down, so he only needs 3 more.
I mean, Shura's, if Rambler's fast here, Shura's like barely gonna be into Altus. There's no way he can go Radon guards. Even like accounting for incidents, honestly.
And Makar does count as a Liurnia boss, so he could not go Makar as an option, right? And get an Altus boss there for Shura. Prelate's not a boss, by the way, so that's only 2 down. Prelate is not a boss.
Nope. That is a regular enemy that just
looks like
be
boss.
beefing up in the
Yeah.
middle of somewhere. If the Knight's Cab is here, you have to hit it. I don't know if he made it Knight, but feels
He did.
crazy to just skip that. Okay, so yeah, he's thinking Knight's Cab.
Yeah, I honestly think Shura here needs to hope that Rambler greeds for synergy for some reason and tries to go like Onyx Lord or something like that, and it slows him down just enough.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in Shura's spot, you're going to play on hope here. You've unfortunately miscalculated somewhere.
Yeah, Rambler's bailing on the Knight's Cab, which I actually think is smart.
Yeah, Knight's Cab with a flail.
I hate that guy, especially because if the fight is too long, you can get into hell with the. Oh no, he's just rolling. He's running away from the troops, so he's going back into the fight.
Okay.
Because there is also
That's
a
smart.
horde of wandering Lanedale soldiers that if they get involved, it's a damn nightmare.
Also switched weapons here, which I actually really agree with.
Yeah. Get the Frost, and kind of we saw him getting roll caught there a couple times with the Colossal Sword. The horse is almost dead. This is why I just don't love the Knight's Cab. It's so slow.
Yeah, he stalls.
It can be so slow. Rambler gets the meat check. Should also get a Frost here. Not here, like shortly after. There it is.
And Shura is going to be chasing now. He's going into Gillica. Backstab on the Knight's Cab. Little butthole bandit action there.
Yeah, that backstab keeps the Knight's Cab from getting back on its horse because it could resummon.
And there's Gillica for Shura.
So it is now 3-1 on Altus bosses for Rambler. Shura is likely going to need the execution of his life and a mistake by Rambler here.
Yeah, it'd have to be multiple deaths probably.
I mean, Spiky Balls will make up time. Crystallion weak to strike, or not, both the Crystallion and the Tibia weak to strike, right? Realistically, probably a Wormface incident is necessary, though.
Yeah, I think Crystallion incident is probably too much to hope for, but
Hey,
Wormface-
before the nerf, it'd be very possible.
yeah.
When I did that, when I down patched to like the release day patch, that Crystallion duo killed me, and I was so embarrassed. But it's because they're both full aggro the entire time.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
What, two bosses
Godskins
here?
Godskin's also an option 3. I don't think I'd go for it, but it's definitely an option.
I would do Wormface Crystallions.
Yeah.
They're right next to each other. If I was maybe a little more, like, less leveled than Rambler, I'd possibly look at Sanguine. Crystallions are hard to pass up.
Yeah. Because that tunnel's really, really short, too.
Really short tunnel, really fast fight, like. Oh.
Rambler is trying to do the Wormface setup where you quit out and keep him lying down. But he didn't kill the ad that's
I'll
right
have
there.
him one shot. Oh no, that's not how that works. My bad.
Yeah, no, health regens when you quit out. Rambler's in trouble here.
This is kind of what Shura needed.
Oh, and Rambler dies. Rambler does die. There is a stake, but this is what Shura needs. Shura is now going for the Sanguine Noble. This will be his second Altus boss.
This would be brutal if you're Rambler.
Yeah.
Good jump tech there out of Shura, that looked like.
Rambler's back. Rambler barely dodges that hit from Wormface. He nearly went down there. Using a bit of
He's
torrent
whipping out-
tech.
Yeah, the torrent tech is the way to do this.
Yeah, he also, if he tries to grab you, he cannot grab you well on Torrent. It's also easier to run away from the Deathblight. Rambler gets a stagger there. This should kill. All right, Rambler's at 4 now.
There we go. Should be straight to Crystallians. It shouldn't even be a question.
Yeah. So it is now 4-2. No, actually, he's going Sanguine. Taking the teleport and going to Sanguine.
It's fair enough.
Fair enough.
It can't be that much slower or faster. One of the two.
Remember everyone, after this, we will not do a post-match interview. Players will be given 15, maybe a little bit longer because this was a fast match, 20 minutes to recuperate. And then we will move straight into game number 2. Shura here fighting Wormface.
That is pretty great damage there. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough.
Shura also misses and has to run away. We'll go full screen with Rambler here, as this is for the win.
Yeah, bingo win.
As Rambler has said before, I'm only going to get 5 squares, but they're going to be in a line.
True words of wisdom. 2 hits to stagger as well is going to be, I mean... That's going to be it.
That'll be it. That'll be a bingo win for Rambler in game number 1.
Insane start.
GG's.
What a line. What a line from Rambler.
Rambler
Played
seems
it
hype.
perfectly.
I never played like this. Never played like this. This is dumb. I don't know why I did this. I didn't know how to read the board in the beginning. I tried to cover all my bases. I didn't cover anything. I must assume he was going Arcs and trying to do the bingo faster. I must assume that.
Yeah, well, GG's to Rambler there. Congrats to him on the win.
GG's indeed. What?
Right.
I mean, what a play.
What a play. Right, if you want to talk for a second, I'm going to send the guys a timestamp, let them know when we will be starting game number 2.
Sounds good. But yeah, that was, I mean, early, there was some worries there, right? Rambler totally sold early game, which honestly, like, purely according to his plan. Played the line perfectly, got into Altis, was ready to go on that fire pre-lit 5 Altis bosses Raya. Came back for Colossal and X-Ikes. And honestly, like, that was exactly what he needed to do. X-Ikes was close. He loses X-Ikes there. Like, this game isn't over, obviously. That's still, like, pretty early, but needed to get those 2 squares first. Did them in the right order. Pretty much nailed his timings on when to pop and go for it. Pretty just, I mean, really, really smart, which we were talking about. Rambler is one of the smartest players in the league. Really good at board reading. Found exactly what he needed to do and executed it.
Yeah, and I think it's going to set
there.
I think it's going to set up a very interesting dynamic here for game number 2, right? Rambler is maybe the last person that I would expect to win with a 5 square bingo, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think Shura wasn't expecting this at all, right? Coming into the game. Now he knows it's a possibility though. Right? Like Rambler kind of the cat's out of the bag, right? Rambler's pulled off his dirty trick in game 1 that I don't think Shura was ready for. But you know, he's been 7-1 this season. He was the favorite for a reason, going into this one. And we're gonna see how he responds to this. Because like at this point, I don't think there's, obviously there might be some tech or something, but this type of completely out of character play, right? Rambler can't do this again, right? At least Shura will be ready for it. But on the other side, it also makes Rambler more dynamic and scary, right? Because you have to be ready for different types of play from Rambler. On the bright side, I do think that was a very strong game by Shura. Like, he played it well.
Yeah.
Probably just delayed Altus a bit long. And, the Exike snipe, granted, also probably shouldn't have been a snipe. Rambler should have had that done well ahead. But very interesting dynamic going into game number 2. And we'll see what happens. We've seen this before from Rambler. Rambler in the semifinals of last season. Wasn't necessarily in the same way with like a freak bingo, but he beat Alex in game number 1 of last season, and then went on to lose the set 3-1, or 2-1. Sorry. So anything is possible, and I think we're both. I hope you guys are all very excited. I'm very excited. I expect Shura to bounce back strong, but Rambler has to be on a high that he hasn't been on in a very long time after that win.
Yeah, and speaking of the mental game here, right? You got a series, so one win doesn't do anything. You got to be careful if you're Rambler to not get too high, too excited, right? But you can play with confidence. You can feel good. I mean, that's a great start. You're Shura, that's a tough game to lose, right? You're about 6 seconds off of sniping X-Ikes, right? That's got to hurt. You're getting bingoed by Rambler. Like, he was definitely playing that as a majority game until very late there. I don't think he really... I don't want to say he didn't respect the bingo threat, but, like, it did seem like he responded to it very late, which is just maybe a byproduct of playing Rambler, right? He plays majority games. He plays fundamentally sound. You're not ready for the 5-square bingo rush necessarily coming out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is, like, if you're sure it's reset, that happens, right? It's bingo. Like, you kind of got to expect the unexpected. It's a tough way to lose, right? 5-6 hurts a little bit on a close snipe. You could have shut a lot of this down.
Yeah.
But reset, chill, and then for Rambler, right? Same thing. You won really well. You played a great game. Make sure you reset and you're ready to go for the next one.
Yeah. The other thing too that makes it curious, like Shura doesn't lose, right? Like in everything. In everything Shura does. Shura is, when it comes to Elden Ring, he's not a loser. Like Shura is a winner. It doesn't matter what he's competing in, he wins, right? Whether it's bingo or rando races or a speed run challenge or whatever, Shura wins, right? So seeing how he can respond to a tough loss, especially on such short notice, that's the biggest question for me going into game number 2.
Yeah, that is, I think, going to be the big question mark here is how he comes out game 2. Because, I mean, I don't know if anyone was expecting this. I really don't. Like, if you gave everyone a ton of predictions at this game, Rambler with the 5-square bingo is like one of the least selected options for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I expected Rambler to come out a bit more aggressive in a different kind of play style a bit. Not this though. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this was, I don't even know who else really has done this in the league. There's been a couple, like obviously Ginger's gone for an early bingo. I've done it. There's been a few where you just pushed a bingo line early, but not where you'd expect it.
Yeah. And so I'm going to show this real quick. The message from Shura here. Let me get the full screen.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't believe that I have to play again tomorrow. So obviously frustrated about the loss, but if he's playing tomorrow, that means he feels in his head, it's like, I know I'm winning game 2. I'm very confident that I will be playing tomorrow. So that's kind of the message from Shura here to close out to going into this next game. Ratty and I are going to go ahead and reset the board and take a short break, get prepped for game number 2. We'll see you guys all in just a second. Be right back. Okay, then we will go ahead and get started. The first game 3 of the season between Rambler and Shura. Win or go home. Here we go. Ratty, center square.
Give me Moog, Lord of Blood.
I was gonna say the same thing. Give me Moog, Lord of Blood, baby. Come on.
You know you want to, Bingus.
3 paintings is the center square, so we actually have a rush square as the center square. If there was ever a time to grace skip and go all out for it, now might be the time. But as always, we'll look at the board, and honestly, just go over a quick glance. It does look pretty early. I'd say that goes in Shura's favor, but we still have some things late. Magma Worm is a nice early square that you can do in Kaled, or you could delay it to do it with your Altus progression, and that could be an option given the amount of other early squares on the board. 2 Knight's Calves, rather quick to do as well. Same thing with Deathbird and Deathrite Bird, especially after you pick up Sacred Blade. Crackpots and 2 Troll Bosses are both pretty quick in that row too. Liurnia Boss, Incants only, is kind of RNG dependent upon whether it is fast or if it stays. If Corn has Heal or Catch Flame, that square will go almost immediately. Otherwise, the square will sit. In that middle row, almost everything is pretty late with the exception of that 3 painting center square. In row 4, again, nothing super fast, but I would look for a potential double square late with the Soldier of Godric Barefist only going into caves. That will combo very nicely, but it does mean you can't kill Rick early for a cave if you're trying to get that square on the board first. Then in the final row, very Altus heavy with some economy. Hero's Grave, Tree Sentinel duo, full grown, Sacred Flask +6, 10 sorceries. So I think this is a very interesting board. Nothing super late. Latest squares on the board are full grown Falling Star Beast in Margit and Moog Shackles in Capital, as well as potentially Remembrance sitting for quite a while. But we do have an interesting balance of Altus squares and early rush squares, with really more Altus squares being on the bottom of the board and the early rush squares tending to be at the top of the board.
Definitely. And there's some good synergies to play out here. You got Caves, Soldier of Godric Barefist. You have 3 Catacombs with Watchdogs and 1 of your Duelists. You do have Dragonheart bosses and Magma Worms, so there's some like good stuff you could build early here. Cracked Pots and Paintings like kind of take you along a similar route. You're going to want to hit Jarberg, so that Paintings rush feels really good to start. I'm not going to lie. I mean, that is... I think if you're looking at opening plays here, it probably is the strongest. I think if you're not going for Paintings, you need to secure Cracked Pots. You could go for maybe a Catacombs Watchdogs Duelist play as well to start off, a little more aggressive. Takes you into Liurnia as well, which is good, but
yeah. Also,
it's really hard to ignore 3 Paintings on this board.
Really quick, to my chat in particular. All right, I know it's first game of the day, so not everyone's in here yet, but we got less than 10,000 corn gambled on this game. It's the first game 3 of the season. Go all in. Come on.
All in, chat.
Hey, think about it this way. It'll make you feel something. It'll make you feel invested. Put some stakes on one of the players. Have someone to root for. It's corn. It's fake money. If you lose, it doesn't matter, right?
There's one thing I'll say about gambling, and that is in my deadened, apathetic state, it's the only way I can feel true emotion. So go all in.
Not with real money, but corn, yes.
All in on black. Roulette, let's go.
We do see Shura is a little bit behind here. That is just purely due to stream delay. I did refresh it already to try to correct it, but he is just a little behind for stream delay. Same real time, though.
Yep. I got both streams up, and it is pretty identical.
MGS, thank you for the follow.
I'm very curious to see the opening play. Like, we did see both players maybe slowing down a bit. Shura less slow. But he did, compared to the pace he set, I feel like he played a little more cautiously and a little more block-focused, fundamental. It feels crazy to ignore Paintings on this board, but it would be very interesting to see both players look for a line around it as well.
Yeah, I'm also curious, talking to Rambler yesterday, right after the game, he said like he wasn't really sure about the board reading game number 1. And then also he said like he wanted to return to his roots a bit with his play here in game number 3. Now, Rambler is the master of the game within the game, the author of the Book of War. So I'm very curious if that was serious or if he was, kind of building up a smoke screen, right? Because it seemed to me, at least watching it, that Rambler was looking at that line, that middle row, the whole time yesterday, but he kind of said he didn't have a read, and that seems very uncharacteristic. So I'm curious how much of what he said in between games was gamesmanship and how much of it was intentional or it's very honest.
Definitely. I mean, this board does feel like relatively easy to read. I think there's some very clear synergies I mentioned earlier. There is some deeper lines if you wanted to go Radon into Remembrance. Remembrance opens up Shackles for the very late game, right? Could let you push Altus early as well and take advantage of that. There's just enough here that a good lead there could be helpful.
Yeah.
But there's also a couple things that just kind of stick out in weird ways. Sacred Flask +6, like Weeping is not great on this. Maybe you could get like your 3 of your 10 tiers down there, I guess, for Physic Flask. Sorceries is going to be its own kind of dump square. There's not really like a, obviously Kayla Dragon Barrel Boss Sorcery only is what really makes that square nice to get. You do have the Magma Worm boss, but 3 Dragonheart bosses is always kind of one that's like, when do I go capitalize on this? There's no XX or a Geel as well on the board. That can be something that makes that very tempting. Less so here.
Yeah, one line that does stand out to me is if you do win paintings, the middle row is concerning. Altus Perfume bottles only. Keep in mind you cannot use Lightning Bottle on the Abductor Virgins, so that is not an option. But 3 paintings and then the Altus Gelmir Perfume bottles only, that's kind of on the way because you typically do Gillicus, that's on the way to Prelate. And then Remembrance, I think we've seen this a few times in the last day, feeds in very well to any capital squares.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's some pretty clear connections here. So I think, Rambler was mentioning the struggle of reading the board yesterday. I think that will be less of an issue, which also goes for Shura, right?
Yeah. I do think this board does favor Shura a little bit more.
I would agree.
With the early rush. Shura is definitely the more dominant player in the early game. And with such an early game center square, this is not a game that I think will be necessarily won in the early game, but I do expect to be a big advantage, right? There are certain boards where it's so early game heavy that it's like you can basically win the game in the first 20 minutes. I don't think this is one of those boards, but I think it is a situation where you can... someone, like when it is 20 minutes in or so, someone will clearly be in a dominant position.
I'd agree. And with stream delay, sure, already looks significantly ahead here on paintings. I would actually be surprised if Rambler sells out to get this square. Like, as obvious as I think of a play as it is, this just seems like something where he would resort to a more fundamental way of like blocking it and not really playing into the race. Rackpots probably is the right play there, and then possibly troll bosses to follow that up to get both the diags off the board.
Yeah, that would get you both the diags off the board and could build a really big threat on the middle row, particularly if Corrin is good. Like if there's heal and round table or catch flame.
It's good blocks and builds row 2 well, right?
Catch flame would be perfect, or like any good early fire incant because of physic tiers on that same line.
Yeah, and we did see Rambler skip the first skip into oh my gosh, I'm blanking, Liurnia. So, but he generally does that. That doesn't necessarily mean he's not going for paintings.
Yeah.
It does mean he probably knows he's slower because he's skipping that, right?
Well, he had some other movement slowdowns too. He went to go pick up the Kukris, right, to pop those balloons that we just saw, and he had some trouble picking them up. He lost probably 3 to 4 seconds there, which again I know sounds marginal, but particularly in the early rush, like at this level, bingo is won in the margins.
Yeah. I didn't see if either player started cracked pots.
They did. I believe they both did.
Okay. And Rambler is actually pushing paintings. Maybe might just throw in Halberd check with Loretta's Warsicle.
Yeah,
there.
he does. Loretta's Warsicle. I feel like we've seen Loretta's Warsicle a lot. And actually, it looks like Shura is going hard into cracked pots.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is surprising to me, especially because I do feel like even just as a progression square, I think paintings is a much better progression square because it promotes Kaled. It promotes getting you a little more east in Limgrave, meaning that it pushes you closer to Fort Height for Dectus. This does seem like a Dectus game to me. There is not a lot of Academy on this board, so no real reason to do Virgins. We could potentially, and actually Rambler goes Crackpots as well.
It could be that row 2 threat we just looked at is a little probably stronger than actually that middle square initially.
Well, this also could be a situation of Rambler saying, I like this kid. This is kind of the game within the game in the early game, right? Rambler saying, hey, Shura's going to go painting, so I'll go Crackpots. While Shura's saying, hey, basically calling out Rambler and saying, I think Rambler's going to go for Crackpots because he's going to give me painting. So I'm going to go do Crackpots, take that from him, and then win paintings as well.
Yeah, because Shura will just be faster on the pivot here, right?
Yeah.
He'll be able to go back as soon as he grabs that pot. Granted, he will be in the cave, so maybe not.
Yeah, I'm almost a bit surprised that Rambler didn't go grab the Liurnia painting and then double back to cover better to not lose both these squares. Because I do think if Shura is to win both of these squares, it would be pretty bad for Rambler. Now, Rambler actually does have the first mover's advantage here because Shura is stuck in the cave. And he was actually far enough ahead of Rambler that Rambler was not in the cave yet. And I think we're going to see a hard rush for Rambler on the paintings. You just kind of need to have it. But actually, no. He goes ahead and starts working on Physic Tier. It grabs a Physic Tier and runs this way.
Interesting. Letting Shura get this diag. Again, this was what I talked about is 10 cracked pots and paintings can kind of work together pretty well here with the routing, but
yeah.
Is there a line around this that you think works really well to create a threat? Obviously, he's kind of starting to look at Physic Tiers. You could build column 5 pretty easily, right? Row 1 as well is not slow by any means. Very snipeable, not a bingo threat, but create something there.
Yeah, the other thing too about a diag is that it's so strong offensively and defensively. It does because obviously if you get a bingo you just win, right? But it inherently builds the diag blocks everything, right? So if you get 4 out of 5 squares on a diagonal, your opponent will only have 2 bingos left. Which is quite scary. Well, the only exception would be if that square is not... actually, no, even if it is the center square, it'd be only 2 bingos left. Right? No, wrong. It'd be 3 if it's the center square, because they'd have 1 diagonal open.
Exactly. Winrithal Nightsword making another appearance here for Rambler as well. That merchant check. He used that pretty effectively in the previous game, so... It is a weapon.
Yeah, that was a pretty fast crackpot time for Shura. Nexus has the fastest at 7:52. It was an 8:26. However, considering that Shura was kind of doing some other preparation and mid-grounding a bit as well, psychopathic gray skipping, is a pretty solid, pretty good time for him.
Yeah, and he's not great gray skipping here either. He's snagging these graces by the paintings, it looks like. Which
makes sense because I think he's very concerned about getting sniped. I would be.
Yeah, this would be one where you kind of you feel like you have to race for it, but you're probably behind. Pots and paintings is a very greedy play. It is. I agree with that. We see in chat, but why wouldn't you go for it? It's going to set up your map, right? After you get those pots. And I think the plan, Shura probably thought about that, is I snipe Rambler on pots. He's not going to challenge me on the clear best square.
I think that was just a meta call by Shura saying, hey, I'm going to get pots while Rambler's going for pots, beat him on pots, and then I'll go for paintings too. I think it was just a very aggressive meta call by Shura on that one.
Yeah. And the assumption being we're going to be close enough that maybe he's also in the cave, right? And he was actually pretty significantly far ahead considering they both rushed it.
And Shura is a very aggressive player, right? That doesn't just mean, I think a lot of times when people think aggressive, they think of going for bingos, right? That's not always the case. Sometimes early bingos are more so out of desperation than aggression, right? This is aggressive from Shura, right? Like basically trying to call out Rambler and then steal something from, and then call out Rambler, not going for the most valuable square on the board, instead contesting the second most valuable and going for the most valuable right afterwards. We do see Dragon Hunter's Great Katana though from Round Table, so that's huge for Rambler. One of the best bingo weapons in the entire game, particularly with Dragonheart bosses and Magma Worm on the board. Look for Rambler to steamroll if he is able to get that online quickly and Shura does not find it.
I'll give him also, I mean, 2 troll bosses now is very doable to start getting these blocks on these diags for what's going to be coming.
Yep. We also see Rambler getting Sacred Blade here for Deathbird, Deathrite Bird. Sacred Blade is so strong. Even it gives not only a holy damage buff, but you get plus 100% damage to undead, which includes Deathbirds and Deathrite Birds. So as a result, it is simply like
it shreds.
+0 with Sacred Blade is better than a +4 Somber in almost all cases, unless we're talking like Mikkel and Nightsword, which also has Sacred Blade.
Yeah. The one exception includes that Ash of War on Somber, right? Like,
yeah,
pretty cracked. And, you know, I mean, Rambler is going to be, I think we kind of saw this maybe game 1, very ahead progression map-wise. Going to be behind on the board, right? Shura's going to have to get to Round Table, throw in a weapon check, and that'll put him a little more even.
Yeah.
But I think in this case, the squares Shura has grabbed are a lot stronger than in game 1.
Yeah, an idea I do like for Rambler, though, is like Deathrite, Deathrite Bird, and Trolls, right? Both of those give you 2 sorceries. It makes that sorceries a lot easier, because the one thing that is concerning for me for Rambler is the top left to bottom right diagonal. 3 Watchdogs can be a slower square, especially with no synergy, and you don't want to be pushed into Radahn's Great Rune this early in the game, right? Radahn's Great Rune is a pretty good square generally, but this early on, you don't want to be forced into it. So winning sorceries, to me, is very, very important for Rambler here.
Yeah. I think Radahn's actually pretty good on this board, right? It'll force you into Altis. Yeah. There's quite a few squares in Altis. Gets you one of your remembrances if you do end up having to go capital for Shackles, and also sets you up for Remembrance. So not the worst play, but yeah, you probably don't want to be forced into it like very early here. This isn't a board where like rushing Radahn is the move, right?
Now this is going to be an aggressive play from Rambler here. So he's going to rely on this Iron Greatsword with Sacred Blade to get his Dragon Hunters online, right? But as a result, he does not have Sword Seal, very little health going into the Deathbird, Deathrite Bird. It's a great play if he does it, but has to pull it off. I know Rambler feels very comfortable with this fight. I've talked to him a lot about it, but does not mean it's easy whatsoever.
Exactly. And we've talked about Rambler wanted to play a little riskier in playoffs. He wanted to not get away from the fundamentals or how he plays, but just like go a little more aggressive. Do the thing that might be best, maybe is a little riskier, as opposed to mitigating that risk and being very efficient. And we're seeing it here. I mean, this is not a fight you take on lightly. Very easy to make a
like
mistake.
One big shot and he's dead. Especially, they started with 8 Vig. Rambler did level it slightly. I mean, he very well could have just been straight up one shot there, but you can see the damage here. He might just kill.
Yep. He's going to avoid the entire like phase transition explosion there. That is a beautiful fight. And now the next Deathbird is significantly easier, right? It's a Deathbird, not a Deathrite Bird.
Yeah, that was absolutely textbook from Rambler. He also does get his sorcery out of that. Now we see Shura getting a lead on Dectus progression, going ahead and just grabbing Fort Height here. He needs to go, like, he's not in any threat now, but needs to check Round Table quickly. I'm sure he will. It would be quite a blunder if he does not, because of that Dragon Hunter's Great Katana, one of the best weapons in Bingo, especially with Dragon bosses on the board in Round Table.
Yeah, Dragon Hunter's probably not the best weapon, but there's an argument there. It's really good. And there's also Sword Seal for Shura, which with that 8 Vig will be very helpful here early.
And with the stats, like they had a pretty good stat spread. That plus Source Seal, that should be enough to get your Dragon Hunters online. Maybe a few more levels into Dex, but that's about it.
Sacred Blade here, chomping away at this guy.
Oh, Rambler needs to be careful, down to 1 HP.
Had the Bird Wanderer all the way off. This can be annoying with the Giant here.
And we do see Rambler go down.
That's the only annoying thing about that Deathbird in particular is it can drop down by the Giant and he gets involved. Not a major setback. I think this is such an aggressive play. Like, there's no good way to know what he's doing when he gets these Deathbirds, but it is not great.
Yeah, we see Shura now doing the roundtable check for Incants as well. He will also be disappointed like Rambler, so expect that Incant square to sit. But Shura will find Dragon Hunters and be ecstatic about that.
Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah, I mean, anytime, Shura, probably one of the most dangerous players in the league outside of, I don't know, Cronies in the Crucible, but that's different leagues, I guess. With a weapon in their hand and killing bosses, right? This is kind of a dream start for Shura. Got his aggressive meta call was correct on the crackpots into paintings, and now gets a weapon online.
Yep. Did his 2 collection squares. Now he doesn't have to worry about anything like that and can just murder. That is ideal game plan for him.
And I think we see him going straight towards the Magma Worm.
Rambler here about to finish off the Deathbird. Beautiful work. That'll be his first square on the board. Really ideal positioning too, I think.
Yeah, I also like this from Shura going straight to Magma Worm and Kaled, trying to cover for the idea of Rambler going Makar, as well as blocking the row 1 and building his own column 2. Actually going to see a greatsword check here from Rambler. Inseparable sword.
Not really great.
Yeah, and it does look like Rambler's going straight for trolls.
Yeah, I think trolls into sorceries here because you should have enough runes.
Yeah.
I think the question is, I mean, he'll have to grab the book over by Selin, the scroll, to get to 8 sorceries.
Yep. But yeah, he will get 2 sorceries here, one from bowls and one from
He might even be running straight to Selin here first.
No, I think he might. Well, he also might kill this Knight's Cab along the way and then go to Selin.
Yep. The Rambler efficiency play.
Sacred Blade is nice too, even on non-Holy Week bosses, because it is just a buff Ash of War, giving you a little bit of extra damage.
Yeah, it is pretty good damage right there for a +0.
Yeah, Roddy knows a few things about killing Knight's Caps +0 against Shura.
Why are we doing this, boss?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No idea what you're talking about. Memory of a goldfish. I don't remember my losses, only my wins. The minions are getting involved here, which, like, that's the only annoying thing about this fight. Not a big deal if you're, like, leveled up and come here a little later, but early they can be quite the nuisance. It's just enough damage that can put you at risk. Hit the meat check, Rambler.
Rambler gets the kill.
It's not really the meat check, wrong position, but they all count.
Close enough. Yeah, now Shura is running straight towards that Magma Worm. This can be a riskier fight. The arena's small. If that Magma Worm does charge a lot, you can run into issues because basically the entire arena gets covered in lava.
Yep. I believe the highest count for charges in a row in a bingo game is 7. So, I mean, we'll always be waiting to see the infamous 8 charges.
Rambler would love that.
If he has Dragon Hunters online, this will be actually a pretty fast fight. It's just a matter of if Sword Seal plus a couple levels here is enough.
Shura's also going to kill Alexander here to get
Smart.
the Warrior Jar Shard. It'll be very valuable on Dragon Hunters. It does have quite a strong Ash of War.
Yep. An Ash of War that was even maybe like everyone knew it was good, but it I think has been underutilized when the weapon has come out.
Yeah. The only thing I wish was better about it is I wish you could jump stuff with the Ash because you do go up in the air. I did some testing on it. Unfortunately, though, you cannot jump things with it. So that's a bit annoying. That would have been even nicer tech. So yeah, sure. Actually, not going for Dragon Hunters here. He's just gonna go with the sword and
the rock grease. Which I was wondering if he had the stats to get it online. I think it's 15 strength, 20 dex.
Actually, no. Decides to switch to Dragon Hunters.
It changes his mind here. I think that Ash of War will be pretty devastating.
Yeah, did he use the rock grease there or no?
No, I think he saw the damage and just decided it wasn't worth it.
Well, also saving the rock grease for full ground later, right?
Yep.
That could be very valuable.
I would like to see, like I said, the Ash of War gets very underutilized. Especially with the amount of downtime you have when you stagger this Magma Worm would be really good right there. I'm sure not opting to use it.
Oh, doesn't he heard you?
Time. That was, I think, an arm hit, but...
Oh, no! Shura goes down! He gets hit by a drag and goes straight into the lava, and he gets double tapped and dies.
That is the most frustrating thing there, is getting dragged into the lava.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Shura. It's just kind of really unlucky. Obviously, could have positioned slightly better, but it happens. And, great for Rambler, right? We've seen 2 early mistakes from both of them on fights they probably, would both say they should not have died to, but, evens out.
Yeah, and I think Shura's is going to cost him more time, unfortunately.
Yeah, because Rambler's getting his weapon online, also doing a lot of prep. He has 1 Knight's Cap down. He has the Pumpkinhead down for Selin. He has a Grace for Bulls. He grabbed the Temple Quarter Grace, which is a lot closer to Bulls.
Right. Yeah, because as Shura is working on this fight, Rambler's just getting way ahead in Liurnia.
Keep in mind, though, Shura is ahead in Caelid. He has already been to Fort Height. And has a good Grace setup for Eggs Isolator, which could be used as one of his Dragonar bosses.
Yeah, it's also good runes.
Yep.
Not necessarily a lot of dump squares, but if Tin Sorcery sits for a while, you could grab a ton of runes there and just go grab that.
And down goes the Magmorm there for Shura.
And that's building a nice little threat there on column 2. Good pressure. Rambler is in position to deal with a lot of this, I think.
Yeah, Rambler doesn't seem to mind that mark too much.
We'll see Dragon Hunters online here. +2 actually only for Rambler.
Yep, and straight to Bulls.
It should be good enough.
He could have upgraded more, but I think choosing to save his money, knowing how important the sorceries block is going to be, does not want to be forced into Erdtree Watchdogs. That said, though, the only thing about Watchdogs that is decent is 3 Catacombs, right? 2 Watchdogs, 2 Catacombs. Yep. So there is an argument to be made that actually going Watchdogs isn't the worst thing.
I really like Watchdogs in a duelist into Catacombs here. It's like it just feels so good.
Yeah.
You do your Watchdogs, you have 2/3 of Catacombs completed, you get a square, you do your duelist, you finish Catacombs and have half a square completed, right? So it's just, that's just a nice little play. It would take time. You're not going to progress early, so maybe not something to do quite yet, but pretty soon here, that's going to be a efficient play.
And we do see Rambler here up against the 5 time. Bulls carrying Knight.
Manages to get the Ash of War and an extra hit in before the riposte. Feels good, man.
Now, the Glint Blades do come out here for Bulls. Rambler needs to be very careful. This is when he's at his most dangerous because that can happen. Yep. Rambler gets double hit by the Glint.
That's one for the 5 time. We are seeing, I mean, both players are pushing hard, right?
Yes.
I think that's probably why we're seeing these deaths. They know what's on the line, right? Game 3.
Yeah.
Being aggressive, maybe a little nervous.
If I'm going to be honest, you do tend to see more mistakes in like the playoffs and especially in game 3, right? If I brought it up more than a few times, but like last season in the semifinals, Rambler versus Alex game 3, that might have been, in terms of mistakes, the worst game I've ever seen either of them play. Just due to pressure and a lot of things. Alex was able to win that game, but you know, sometimes these things can happen, right? Especially in the playoffs, in a game 3, it's win or go home. A tremendous amount of pressure. And while they are bingo machines, they're also human beings.
Yep. We do see a perfect stagger there, so you can just worry about only the Glint Blades and none of the rest of Bull's moveset. We'll get this funny charge, not the easiest attack to deal with, but handles it well. Should get a stagger, not quite.
Oh, Charlie.
Oh, and just barely.
Yeah, he
early
was
on that
lucky though
dog.
because he was out of range of the. That's a double hitbox from because you have the AOE and the sword out of range of the sword, but the AOE did hit him. Bulls gets Glint Blades out again, but Rambler gets the kill.
Good bleed there, but it's so nice to have a weapon with any kind of status effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we saw 2 bleeds in that fight. Makes up quite a lot of time.
A ton. We might actually see Rambler here go for a Geel into the second troll.
Honestly, not a bad play, right? He's staying efficient. I think, especially after you see...
Either that or just an alternative line because he had gate front instead of a Geel like north.
Okay.
So this might actually be faster. I'm not sure what the time difference is.
It's going to be close. Probably not enough to matter either way, really.
Yeah. Shura going for 2 Knights Calves now. Even though Rambler already has one down with this troll, I don't know if Rambler will have time to contest. Because Rambler he did the Limgrave Knights Cav, which is by far the faster one. And Shura's Dragon Hunters, I believe, is at +4, while Rambler's is only at +1 or 2.
Right. 2 Knights Calves, actually a pretty big square for Shura here, because he is ahead on Dragon Bosses as well.
Yep.
Column 3 could become a strong threat.
Yeah, especially with bad incants. Like, you know, incants only is, like, I think it was Rambler who said yesterday, it's like, it's either a square you want to do early because it's easy, or if the incants are bad, force your opponent into it.
Yep. One of my actually least favorite squares for that.
Yeah, I know
reason,
you hate
but-
that one.
But that is like the strategy of it, right? That's why it actually plays well. It's a very... If you know how to play with that square, it can be very good for you tactically.
Yeah, so Shura's going to get this Knights Cap down here. Rambler against the Troll.
Troll has almost no hope here. This is not the 5 time.
No.
This is his much weaker, much less equipped to deal with a tarnished cousin.
But you can see Rambler bleeding time here because if this was +4, he'd already be long dead.
Yeah. And he should... I think this guy gives about 2,000. 16,000 should be enough to clean up
it'll
the
be
sorcery
close.
square.
I think it will be enough, though. And now Shura here is going to go finish up Knight's Calves I think that Trolls mark, he'll be happy to see that. Just going ahead and giving him the green light.
And by the time Rambler maybe finishes these diag blocks, he'll have dealt with 2 rows, but he'll have 2 columns then to worry about.
And there's Knight's Cabs down for Shura.
Now I'm pretty much fucked. I need to go to...
Really strong opening play here from Shura.
Yeah, and Rambler already saying, now I'm pretty much fucked.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good spot to be.
No, especially because Shura here is going to go aggressive and finish Dragonheart bosses here. He'll have options for the third one, either Smaragd or Exikes as his third. Or even Makar.
Yeah, he does have one half of the deck disc, so I'd be surprised to see Makar. But it is right? It's going to finish your square and get you Altis, so maybe worth it here.
Yeah, also an uncharacteristic mistake from Rambler. Forgot to grab the Grace after Pumpkinhead. That's costing him probably 30 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, there's definitely some minor time losses that are adding up here for Rambler and costing him, like, you know, maybe he would have hypothetically been able to get Knight's Cabs. Like, obviously that Pumpkinhead mistake was more recent, but not the first one we've seen. We saw him, you know, having some troubles picking up the Kukris at the very start of the game.
Yeah.
You know, the Deathbird death, as well as the Bull's death, right?
Yeah, and those are mistakes that, like, are never good to make. You could maybe get away with it in regular season or against certain players that are a little slower. Yeah, I can't really do that as much in playoffs against Shura. Granted, he's made his own mistakes, but he's just fast.
Yeah, that is the one thing, like, in playoffs, right? Like, everyone in this league puts so much into this, and everyone is a very, very intelligent bingo player, right? You know, obviously some slightly more so than others, but everyone's smart, right? No one in this league is dumb. But, you know, against these execution monsters like Shura, Helios, Nexus, you can't afford these types of mistakes. Strump, Nartok, everyone.
Yeah. We're seeing why Dragon Hunter Katana was such a great weapon on this board. Those dragons went down fast.
Yep.
Actually, that would even be enough for Shura to go do 10 sorceries right now. Looks like he's going to level, though.
Actually, Shura's going crazy aggressive here, and I really like it. He's going for Rick.
Yep.
Fisting Rick, getting a block on the column column 5, as well as promoting his own row 4. He also will get a cave out of this.
Hitting the cave, and then I've talked a couple times about the Catacomb Watchdogs Duelist. If he goes there after this, he is putting himself in a real good spot for majority, right? Especially if he grabs 10 sorceries first, he'll end up blocking the entire board between Rick, that synergy, and 10 sorceries. Also is, 5 squares if he gets all of them? Could be a pretty devastating swing here.
What is Rambler going for?
Rambler is deep into weeping, probably looking at Sacred Flasks right now, I have to imagine.
Okay, you got to scare him. That was an incant check with Lightning Fortification, just a random incant. I do get that for Rambler. I think what Rambler's doing right now is he's going to be checking his incants and weeping and, like, just trying to... Maybe it's not the most optimal play, but he does recognize that he's behind right now. You know, making some risky plays, checking some random incants that do take time, but if it was something really good, could swing a lot in his favor here.
Yeah. I mean, the incant block is going to be a lot faster than the Sacred Flask block if that hits.
Yep. So keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is just the first of 3 bingo matches today. After this, we have Strump versus Nexus in, I mean, if you count the games they actually did play, a combined 13-2 in the regular season.
Insane.
Yeah, should be a crazy one.
Elden stars at the other end can't check. Those are just not hitting for Rambler.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Shura being very efficient in this fight, even taking the jump punish, which is a little more rare to see. Beauty of fighting Soldier of Godric is you actually want to not be dodging minimal dodges. There are situations where you just do it for safety, but everything can be strafed or jump in his moveset. So in order to conserve stamina and maximize your damage, you avoid dodging to keep that stamina bar up, right?
100%. All right, this will be 10 sorceries here for Rambler. And there's the mark.
Yeah, Soldier of Godric's going to feel really good for Shura here.
Yep. How much time does it take? I think it's about 4-ish minutes.
Yeah, it can be done very fast.
Yeah, it's quick. It does depend. The reason why it's not done early is dependent upon a few things. Number one, you need to have 30 combined in strength and dex. If you have that, you will do 6 damage per hit instead of 4. So even though it's only 2 more damage, it's a 50% increase, which is massive. Additionally, your early game time is more valuable. So as a result, you don't want to necessarily rush this. I think we saw there. I did see one game, one competitive match where someone rushed it. It was a doubles game. I think it was Bushy and Yojo versus Catapup in Bingo Brawlers Season 3. And I mean, even then in doubles, when it shouldn't bite you as much because you have 2 players playing, that really did hamper Bushy a lot in that game.
Yeah. I mean, it's the simple fact of if it takes, like, ideally from the start, it's probably 5-6 minutes into the game when you mark the square. Mm-hmm. Your opponent has grabbed Torrent and can be, like, almost into Liurnia. They can be well into Caelid, right? So, like, you've lost a lot of map progression and you still have another minute or two before you even get to Torrent from there. Yeah,
like, with an optimal setup, your opponent could be, like, halfway through Margit by the time you finish fisting Rick, right? It takes that much time. Plus, you get nothing. You get nothing else out of it unless there's Limgrave bosses or caves on the board, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if Rambler was ahead on Altus, row 5 could be very interesting. But we see Shura's playing very well here and just covering his bases, right? He already picked up the Dectus half at Fort Faroth, now going straight to Fort Height to get his Altus progression. Meanwhile, Rambler is going into Narnia, aka Weeping, to do Sacred Flask +6.
Yeah, and Weeping does have actually it can have really good value in this square set. Unfortunately, it doesn't on this board, so this is kind of it's not a time sink, right? This is a very important block, but it's just gonna take a while, and it's not really building towards anything else.
Yeah,
very unfortunately forced defensive play here for Rambler.
Yeah, Weeping's a very important part of the board read. Like, I think when you consider your map progression with board read, like one of the most important question is like, when do I need to get to Altus, right? Yep. And then after that, the question of like, is Weeping good? Like, do I need to have Weeping? Do I need to force my opponent to a Weeping? Is actually another very important question. Because one of the unique things about Weeping is like, yes, it is close and low scaled. But, Liurnia pushes you towards Altus and other regions, right? Because you have to run through Liurnia to get to Altus. Same thing with Caelid because of Fort Faroth and the Dectus half, right? Limgrave progression as well through Fort Height and these things. Weeping doesn't really give you anything outside of Weeping. So it is a very unique area in that aspect.
Yeah. And I mean, in a lot of seasons of Bingo, Weeping is just not great, right? There's some squares there. I think our square set actually has done a good job of like promoting Weeping as a winning play or a strong play, but that progression piece still makes it risky. Yeah, Weeping is honestly often feast or famine, right? We saw
Like the fastest majority win of the season was a win by Asim in a Weeping heavy board where he made the right call to go to Weeping early, and Dino didn't. Dino played that game very well, outside of the board read. And actually we see Shura here going for Ruins bosses. Just helping him get another block here on the row 4, which also could be a threat. Shura has full Dectus. He already has 1 cape down via Rick.
Yeah, if Rambler isn't careful about this, this could actually be a bingo win. Shura has some good prio here.
I mean, in a way, I think it's playoffs, right? We did see during the regular season some players, like, playing to not get bingoed for pride, right?
Yeah.
At this point, I don't think you give a shit. You either win or you lose. It doesn't matter how, right?
But yeah, because a lot of times ignoring a bingo is your best option, but you choose not to in order to not get disrespected.
Yeah.
Rambler's already entering the territory of which of these threats can I ignore? There's a couple on the board.
1000%.
Rambler is in fort height now, at least, grabbing the first of his Dectus halves.
Yeah.
Because at this point in the game, 40 minutes in, it's starting to look like Altus is going to be the bigger
move.
It's going to have the moves, the bigger plays here.
Yeah.
All that's really left early is obviously those 6 Sacred Flasks. Runes bosses actually benefits from Altus.
Yeah.
Caves and Grottos can go either way.
I'm also interested in this play by Shura because it is aggressive, right? I understand Runes boss is important because it builds a line, and blocks any ideas of column 1. But Ruins boss is one of the few squares Rambler has shown priority on. By doing sorceries, you're almost guaranteed to kill the Pumpkinhead. Shura just being really aggressive, disrespecting Rambler's priority and saying screw it, give me these Ruins bosses, right?
And that is something I really like to see. Like, knowing your opponent has prio and going and stealing something, especially when you're up like this, is really strong. It's risky. I mean, you're going for something that if your opponent's doing it, they should just win. But if they're not, if you trust your judgment on that, you can take away value in something they've already done.
Especially because of particularly in the playoffs, the psychological damage, right?
Yep.
When your season's on the line, stuff hurts a lot more, right? In losing a square that you had priority on really stings anyways, but especially in this spot.
Yeah.
The only thing that concerns me is, Rambler is catching up on Dectus here, right? While Shura is going for this. Rambler also has a lead on Sacred Flask +6. It would obviously take some insane snipes and things, but, leaving the door open for Rambler to potentially build that threat on row 5, which I do believe is his best bingo line anyways, is a little concerning, to say the least.
I mean, if Rambler can hold Sacred Flasks long enough, getting that and Tree Scent Duo, Full Grown, and the Altus Hero's Grave are kind of in the same direction, so that row 5 is not unreasonable if you get a good head start in Altus.
And there's Runes bosses for sure. Yeah, I think that might have been... I mean, I'm less aggressive, right? I'm very defensive. I say this a lot. I think if I was in Shura's spot, I might have just pushed the Hero's Grave here, because that blocks Rambler. Before the Runes bosses mark, Rambler had 3 bingo lines available. Column 1, column 4, and row 5. Altus Hero's Grave blocks column 1 and column 5 and row 5, but also shows heavy priority on Full Grown Falling Star Beast, which would be your block on the column 4.
Right. Sure, now looking at duelists to actually grab 2 Stone Sword keys.
And duelist would be a nice block on the column 4 as well, but I don't know. You don't want to get into
you don't want to leave Altus too open right now. Altus is going to become very important here.
I agree.
Like getting just duelists here and going to Altus is not necessarily a bad move. You'd love to see the Catacombs Watchdog synergy come in after, but you probably don't have time.
I mean, even if you want to go it's a slower Hero's Grave, but you could make an argument for going the Ancient Hero of Zamora Hero's Grave, because that also is by a Sacred Flask tier. Plus, there is a duelist in that Catacomb, or in that Hero's Grave, right? So that would give you one duelist, and you'd only need one more.
Definitely. Underrated duelist.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily the best play, but just another option, because the longer Shura messes about in Limgrave, and the more this column 5 is open, it just is scary. I don't necessarily think that Altus access is enough to feel comfortable about this. One of the things about this row 5 is that there are essentially isolated kill squares. It's a lot harder to double prep isolated kill squares, because if you have something that's like kill 3 or collect 4 or whatever, you can get one, you can be one away, right? And then pivot. But with like Tree Sentinel Duo, Altus Hero's Grave, Full Scroll Evolving Star Beast, like those are, either 2 long fights or a long dungeon and a long fight. Harder to double prep those sorts of squares.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do see Rambler going straight for Altus now as Shura is killing this duelist.
Rambler could have time here to make something happen. These duelists are going to be quick, but he's going to get a good head start on Altus. I would expect to see Shura after this going, but...
I think that's a bad timing for that mark for Rambler.
Not necessarily. That could be read as weeping, right? I was kind of about to question that. Sacred Flasks +6 especially is very much like I went to weeping kind of square.
Yeah.
So that might read to Shura as, oh, he's all the way in weeping right now.
Yeah, I just wonder...
There is enough of a gap there that you might worry about what he was doing in the meantime.
Yeah, but we
definitely read Dectus.
But I think maybe in part because of that mark, we see Shura just vacating finishing duelists and going straight to Altus, right?
Yeah.
It's impossible to say for us whether that was always Shura's plan or if he would have finished duelist first. But because of that mark, he is now very alerted to that line.
Yeah.
Even though it is obviously very risky for Rambler, it might have been best, just because this is not looking great for majority, to disguise this line as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up as well. It might have been a savage call to make, but you might have had to hold Sacred Flasks until you can pop, like, Tree Scent Duo and Thin Flasks.
Yeah. Like,
at that point, the jig is up, right? When you get Tree Scent Duo.
Yeah.
You need Flask to make it work, but there might be no reason to hold on to.
I mean, you might have even needed to prep the hero, like get a Grace up by the Hero's Grave in Gelmir, then go kill Duo, and then pop +6 if you really wanted to hide this properly. That's incredibly risky, and it's impossible to say for us right now, but that might have been Rambler's best play.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where that kind of desperation Hail Mary might have been needed.
Yeah.
Like, it's very easy for us to know that, because obviously Shura is, like, right on his tail here. We know Shura was actually ahead on Altus at one point. That's all stuff Rambler can't possibly know.
Yeah.
It was very easy to say, oh, like, you don't need this, right? Because we know Shura is kind of working on a separate synergy, but he could have been working on column 3 or working on blocking row 5, right? Like, Rambler has no way of really knowing that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost an impossible call to say, yeah, I'm just going to hold one of my squares I actually have here when I'm only down 3.
Yeah. Also, I do want to say something here, just because I know we have a lot of like bingo players in chat of like varying different degrees, as well as like prospective bingo players. One thing about bingo is the game changes a lot as you get better. It is a game that is like constantly evolving. In this spot with like Rambler and Shura, right? These are some of the best players in the world. Like a 3 square lead is very dire. if you are a newer player or even like an intermediate player, you don't need to be playing this the same way where it's like as dire.
Yeah.
Like I would definitely say like keep playing your game, right? Realistically, the amount of error that like is expected from these players at this time is just like much less. So obviously it's great to learn from these guys, but like the way that like they read the board and we read certain situations is because of their skill level. If like you're newer and getting into bingo, I would tell you like, hey, you know, if you're in this spot, like just keep playing your game, right?
Yep. For most people, just making some blocks here and getting squares keeps you in the game. I mean, but it's not unreasonable to say, like, you give Shura a 2-3 square lead, it's going to be brutal to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, like,
it's so hard to close that gap with him.
The amount of lead, like, in the desperation, like, I've even seen it, like, even from last season to this season, like, season 1 to season 2, like, it's changed, right? In season 1, I would have said, like, yeah, like, down 3 is not bad, but it's definitely, like, very playable. In this season, I think once you're down 3, like, that's when it starts becoming very dire.
Yeah.
Because the levels just increase that much.
Y'all do catacombs? I need to block that.
And there's a matter of if Rambler thinks he's ahead on ult this year, which isn't unreasonable with all that Shura's marked.
Yeah.
You could still be playing to get back into a majority game here with early Altis.
And if not,
The Radon just is a surprising call.
Yeah. That's going to be duelists down for Shura. 1 catacomb. He's in a good spot with the 1 catacomb and 2 caves as well.
I think I see the idea of Radon, like it sets you up for like Rem and Shackles. And obviously the Great Rune. That's just unfortunately in this spot, like not enough. You're down too much.
Yeah. Especially if Shura goes into Altis now and starts taking advantage.
Yeah.
Because there was, I forget what my count was earlier. I want to say it was 8 Altis squares: Restore, Full Grown, Tree Scent Duo, Hero's Grave, Perfume, Fire Prelate, Shackles.
Yeah. There's a lot here.
Squares. So at this point, Shura does not need all of them to even win. 6 out of 8 would do it.
Six out of 8? No, 7 out of 8.
Nope, 7 out of 8. No, wait, what's 8? 8 plus 5, 13.
No, 5 out of 8. Oh my god. We're
No, we can math, dude. Like we
can math, yeah.
Math. We've all known I've had a counting issue for a while. Who's exposing himself as a fellow non-counter? That's my dog.
Finance major here. Sorry, finance.
Finance.
I study finance and I go summer in Geneva. And I winter in Prague.
Gross. Looks like a little Tree Scent Duo action here for sure, probably.
Yeah, it might be a Tree Scent Duo race.
And Rambler actually looks like he just set up Radon there. Not necessarily a bad move, but it's about to cost him what was probably inarguably a really big square for him.
Yeah, I think if Shura gets Tree Scent Duo here, that is a real big nail in the coffin.
Yeah. 9-4 with a pretty even Altis progression is just not worth it. Yeah, Rambler could get an even race here at least if he skips the Grace. That is true. It's a good point from chat. You're never doing that though.
Yeah, I do want to say really quickly though, regardless of the outcome today, for both these gentlemen, it's been a fantastic season, right? Rambler. Yeah, this is the most stacked bingo lineup I think ever, right? From top to bottom, when you consider how many great players. Obviously, like you could argue, like, and I really do mean ever. Like if you, granted, like at the top, right? Like, you know, there are some fantastic players and everything in bingo brawlers, and they're great in a lot of them could more than compete in this league, but like this is 18 players deep, the deepest roster ever for a bingo season at the top level. Making it to this point, very, very impressive for both of them. And regardless what happens, it'll be a great season.
Yeah, and just getting into that roster of 18 was brutal, right? Qualifiers was out of like 60-something people, 70-something people.
Yeah.
All very good at bingo. Make no mistake, it was brutal to get here and even more brutal to get to playoffs.
Exactly.
And
yeah, I mean, really, it's
race,
like
Shura
these are
has quite a lead.
This is the top 8 out of, I think I think around like 60 people tried to get to this spot, right? So
yeah,
very insane.
Rambler is gonna need something to happen here if he wants this.
Yeah,
square.
I mean he's making good. He's having a good fight. Shockingly, actually, may even be making up time on Shura in the fight.
He's not that far
behind. It's gonna be enough, unless there's a mistake from Shura. It doesn't necessarily have to be a death, but like obviously that would do it. It would just need to be a real sloppy fight here.
He's about, it looks like 10 to 15 seconds off of Shura here.
Yeah, Shura's playing the second Tree Sentinel though incredibly well.
The much easier one, right? Torch guy struggles to cause issues.
Rambler gets clocked.
Actually over-rotated the strafe there.
Shura gets a stagger. That should pretty much do it. Yeah, and Shura gets it down. That's going to be brutal for Rambler.
Yep. The threats are closing in. You've done a good job of dealing with some of them, but now row 4, column 2 exist, right? Like,
yeah. Well, and Shura's only 4 squares away from winning, right?
Yeah.
For Shura's 4 squares away. You're 9 squares away and has bingo pressure.
It's a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, anything is possible. We saw that yesterday.
Yep.
But, I mean, I'll keep it. I'll be honest with you. Like, yesterday I did say, like, even though Cronies was down, I think that was 12-9, right? It was a winnable 12-9.
Yes.
Without serious mistakes from Shura, this is a nigh on impossible spot, I must say.
9-4 is fine here if Rambler has like strong progression ahead of him.
Yeah.
If there was a lot of Altis here that was left and like Shura hadn't been to Altis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rambler has a chance. Unfortunately, they're both in Altis and their squares also spread out around the rest of the map still. Shura finally looking at that Watchdogs Catacombs combo here. And that's what makes this really hard to play from.
Yeah. And, hats off to Shura. He played a wonderful game here today.
He really did.
Very, very wonderful game.
I mean, if you just look at that opening play of Paintings, Crackpots, Magnorn, Knight's Cav, that is devastating.
Yeah, I mean, that call by Shura to basically just call out Rambler and say, hey, you're going to go for Crackpots because you're too scared to contest me on Paintings. So I'm gonna beat you on Crackpots, and then I'm going to take Paintings from you. Like, that is...
Well, and then Rambler not pivoting to Paintings when Crackpots gets marked, right? That's...
Yeah. I mean, it's just an incredibly ballsy call by Shura, especially to make in this spot, right? Because, like, if it doesn't work out for him, right, he could lose Paintings, and, that would have been really bad, right? You're just losing the center square for a lesser square.
Yeah, I mean, that changes the entire landscape of this game. It's just a tough situation there. I didn't hate Rambler's move. I really actually liked the Deathrite Bird, 10 sorceries, 12 bosses. I think it was a little too slow in practice here.
And also, like, you never know, right? Like, Shura is a monster, but it's his first time ever. He's a rookie. Right, like that cannot be stated how impressive Shura's been. He is a rookie, and you have a rookie who's the number 1 overall seed in his division, right? You force him to game 3, right? A lot of, less mentally strong individuals would have cracked under that
Yep.
pressure. Shura did not.
Sure is a monster, dude. He's an actual demon. I had the misfortune of playing him twice, and like his improvement has been insane just between those 2 games, and it looks like he's only gotten better.
Yeah. And it's also, just like I said, Shura's development in terms of like his mental toughness and stuff. Because, look, to be honest, like bingo is just a game, right? But there are things that you can learn from any game, sport, or whatever, that translate to, real life stuff, right? And we saw Shura against Ellie, right, in his first game to make it into the Golden Order. He had a very poor performance. Like, he cracked. And learned from that and did not blink here today. Like, even the message after that game 1 loss, I can't believe I have to play tomorrow, right? Just an incredibly mentally strong individual.
Couldn't believe he had to play, but certainly came ready to play.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, also, like, his message in the post-match interview, like, talking about how he got excited having lost. He relished the opportunity to have his back against the wall. That's a scary, scary man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, most people would be like, "Oh, damn, like, my back's against the wall. I got to win 2 in a row. Like, I've done so well. Like, and now, it's all coming crashing down." And instead, Shura just said, "Nah, like, I want this. I'm built for this.
This is awesome. I'm so excited for this. It's fucking terrifying."
That is horrifying.
He is such a chill dude. I don't think he feels the pressure as much.
Yeah.
Maybe he does, but honestly, I think his entire attitude kind of prevents that.
Yeah, 100%. He's a very rare individual. There are not many people like him in the world.
He's an absolute weapon. It's terrifying. And we will see a double mark here as well. That's gonna not feel good if you're Rambler, dude.
No, not at all.
I mean, outside of where did Shura die? What was that one mistake?
It was he got dragged by the Magmorm into the lava. Like, I mean, I guess he was out of position, but
with the exception of
that, very easy
honestly,
mistake to make.
Game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can't avoid that, but like, it's not easy in the moment.
Not at all.
It's a very easy thing to get caught by in that fight. I think everything else is a little less excusable. That one happens. Wake work of that watchdog. Double mark comes in.
Yeah,
and this is a blue.
Rambler
board.
sees the double mark and just falls off the divine tower there. I think Rambler knows that he's cooked.
Yeah.
Also, for anyone who's wondering, because I know you guys do like it when I go big screen with players. Yeah, like I normally like to get reactions when it's close and stuff. This isn't close. I don't want to.
No.
I don't want to add insult to injury for Rambler here. So I apologize if you want those reactions, but keep in mind, everyone. I'm friends with everyone in the league, and I love them all. And I'm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a frustrating position.
Yeah.
Like I ended up here a couple times this season, and it just fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But,
Class
I mean,
act. Class act by Rambler though, continuing to play this out, right?
Yep. Exactly. I mean, in reality, like Shura played the perfect game, essentially. And this is a board that leans towards him. He made a disgusting call early.
And
I don't know who does much about this if they have to play this version of Shura.
yeah, like to be fair, like it's, Rambler as well, but like anybody, right, against Shura, like anyone playing a perfect like a perfect version or whatever, like it's gonna be hard to beat this guy if he plays like this in the future rounds. But like especially for Rambler, right, because he relies on outreading people. to beat them. And Shura just never gave him the opportunity today. He played it perfectly.
Yep. Shura also plays at a speed that's hard to read.
Yeah.
Like in my experience with him, there was a couple times where I was like, really? Like you had that also ready to go?
Yeah.
How? Like the timings almost didn't make sense because everyone else is a little more methodical and thorough, I think.
Yeah.
And sure has gotten that way, but has also just kept the speed. Like
Yeah.
even playing someone like Nexus, who is really good and fast, I still felt like I had like a really good read on what he was doing. And I never felt that way with Shura.
Yeah, I mean, Shura is just too good, too fast, and was, more than smart enough that you're not gonna outread him like that. At least not twice in a 3-game set, right?
Yeah.
Shura saw his mistake in game 1, learned from it, and I mean, honestly, well, especially this one, but 2 back-to-back very strong performances to kind of leave no doubt that Shura, deserves the spot in the semifinals here.
Mm-hmm. And still shout outs to Rambler for that first game, right?
Yes.
I mean, really showed why he's here. He definitely deserves it.
Oh, Rambler deserves it 100%.
5-6 bingo win is disgusting, I must say.
Yeah,
I mean, Rambler his praises.
Rambler is, I mean, at this point, I think it might be fair to say that Rambler is like the best player of all time who's never won an event when you factor in everything that he's done for the sport. Every single person in this league has gotten it. Golden Order Crucible has gotten better because of Rambler. He has, this will be his lowest finish ever, and he made it to the quarterfinals in a game 3 against the number 1 overall seed, right? Like that in the most stacked lineup from top to bottom, right? Like this being his worst ever performance in terms of finishing place is insane.
Radon's great rune and Fire Prelate there both pop. One more square for sure to win.
Yeah.
And just to add on to this, I'm pretty sure almost every single, there might be a couple exceptions, but almost every single player in the Golden Order went to Rambler for coaching. And he gave it out for free, right? He's just helping the competition.
Yeah.
Promoting like the tight race. Like, good dude.
And the Crucible as well. Like, I also want to give a shout out to Mayor Skills as well. Like, if not for Rambler and him, like our coaching program would not be what it was. And the talent of this league from top to bottom is due to A, the wonderful coaches, and B, how much the players put into it. This sport would not be what it is without Rambler. It's not just Elden Squares. It's, the bingo club and stuff as well. Like, he does work there. He's just a wonderful, wonderful human being and like incredible for the game.
Yep.
Like, I think outside of, the OG guys who invented bingo, like Aggie, Domo, Chris, etc., you could argue that Rambler's the most impactful in the history of the sport.
Yeah. I mean, I think he maybe goes a little underrated, right? Because he's not a big content creator, not vocal on Twitch, YouTube. But
yeah.
God, does he put in a ton of work behind the scenes on these servers, getting people ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're seeing Hero's Grave. Very interesting route here from Shura that you don't see much going from Fort Lade up and around versus the general bridge and ladders up from
I think it
Altus.
makes sense, though, if you have Fire Prelate.
Yep, it does. Makes a lot of sense. I think I don't know if I've seen this in a game. I've definitely missed a few games this season, but
I think I'm pretty sure I've seen it before, but I think the player who did it might have gotten lost. So
yeah,
this might be the first time we've seen it efficiently.
Successfully done, right? Rambler gonna make his push for remembrance here to end the game. And we see Shura. And maybe the easiest hero's grave once you know it. The hero's graves are kind of messed up areas in general in this game. But I think this Mount Gelmir hero's grave like is very easy to navigate. Oh, I didn't even notice, yeah. Rambler whipped out Putrescent Knight's Cleaver for the Remembrance. What a goated weapon. Sure gonna make it. Almost didn't.
Almost didn't. But once Shura gets into the fight, we will go full screen with him, as this will be his moment where he puts himself into a stacked semifinals. So far, it is Shura, Helios, and Nartok. And then we may very well be finding who the fourth player is right after this. It will either be Strump or Nexus. Game number 1 and 2 coming up in just over 30 minutes here. Cannot wait for that.
Glad I don't have to deal with this. That is a crazy stack.
Yeah. those two players with a combined record of 13-3. If you don't count the unfortunate forfeiture that Nexus had to take, they are 13-2. Incredibly stacked matchup for the first round. I think both players on paper would deserve to be in the semifinals, but there can only be one.
Yeah, if you're one of the 3 players already in the semifinals, I don't know if you want to see Nexus or Strump make it. Those both just sound like awful options to have to play.
Yeah.
Like that is brutal. The fact that one of those players is going out at all is crazy.
Insane, yeah.
Here we go, final fight for Shura. One of the most infamous bingo bosses, the Red Wolf.
Wow.
Great charge attack there.
Stagger. A bleed?
Will the stagger do it?
Nope.
Not quite. One more
And
hit.
that will do it. GG's.
With style. Ash of War.
Sheesh. GG's. What a fucking game, bro.
Congratulations to Shura.
I'm honestly surprised I got paintings.
Great game out of him.
One of those. I'm surprised.
Yeah, an absolutely beautiful game from Shura.
Crackpots was the best square there because even if you get sniped on paintings, you get map progress.
Yeah, Shura's thinking over. I will tell Rambler he can join us whenever he's ready. But we will go ahead and pull Shura in here. Let's go ahead and grab him. GG, Shura. GG's. Congratulations on the win.
GG.
You officially put yourself into the semifinals. Great, really a beautiful game from you today. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. That game, I think I played around him well. The first time when I lost him, I just needed to prep more or kind of bounce around the map. I could not. Usually when I play like against Nartok in them, I feel like actually no, that's a lie. You know what? This is a good learning experience. I think I need to no longer just do rush squares and actually get map progress because that keeps fucking me up in games. So
yeah, well, speaking of rush squares, the read on doing crackpots into paintings, what was going on there? Because I mean, that was the perfect play and was kind of insane.
So it was so hard because I was like thinking I wanted paintings because I didn't want to do with the row 3 again because it was all Altus again, and I was like, I don't want to be sent there that early. But I thought that crackpots was more worth because even if you do get sniped on paintings, at least you get into Celia. And I did want to do Magma Worm eventually, is what I really wanted.
Okay.
The play I wanted was crackpots paintings into Magma Worm, but what did he do that made me? Or actually, I did a little bit of setup. I actually got the Dectus half instead of going immediately to Magma Worm and got my weapon online. Or no, I didn't get my weapon online, but I at least checked Roundtable, which I was thinking of just going in like immediately rushing Magma Worm, but I knew that that was a play that he could have done because it was good. Yeah, Magma Worm was a big thing for me at least. I wanted it.
Yeah, with Dragonheart bosses on the board as well, it's got to feel pretty good to snag that one early.
Well, it's because it like shows presence that you're close to the Duelist and the Watchdogs. So
Yep.
it's like I can pivot, and the Ruins bosses. Like I can pivot in there and get that.
Yeah, that's good thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's kind of what I was thinking.
So Shura, with this result now, I was looking at the next round. Helios versus Nartok is now official, so that will be the first semifinal, and then you will play the winner of Nexus and Strump coming up here. That set will be, most likely this weekend. We'll get that all scheduled and figured out. How are you feeling going into that semifinal and playing, either of those two gentlemen?
I mean, I feel good about making it this far in general, and then it'll be fun to play either one of those two. God, I know. So not Strump. Nexus destroyed me the first game. Hopefully, I don't fucking do that again. I probably won't, but I do want to. It would be fun to play Nexus solely for the LCL battle. I want to do that. And then playing Strump would Strump annoys me. Like the way he plays is legit just would fucking freak me out. Almost like Rambler, how Rambler plays is like when there's nothing going on the board, I have no clue what to do. And that's kind of what like these types of players that go silent, I can't. I get stressed out.
Yeah.
So I mean, both of those. I mean, those players are like fucking crazy. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter who I face. I mean, I want my boy Nexus to pull through. I don't want a single. I just want one single red main, I guess. I guess Helios is the last red main.
Yeah. So the way it works out, Helios is the last remaining red main. The way it works is that if it's 2-2 in the divisions, that's obvious. The highest remaining red main plays the lowest remaining recusant. So in the case that Strump wins, Helios is the highest remaining red main. Nartok would be the lowest remaining recusant they would play, and then Shura, being the number 1 overall seed, would play Strump. In the case that Nexus wins, we would have 3 recusants left in 1 red main. In that situation, the highest remaining recusant plays the lowest remaining recusant, and then the middle seed goes across and plays the remaining red main. So in either those scenarios, it will be it will be Helios versus Nartok, and then you will play the winner of Strump and Nexus.
All right. Well, I want to play Nexus. Nexus, you know what to do. It's like we just need one more red main out. One more. I can't have a red main win this fucking thing. I said it from the start. I didn't want a red main. Oedon himself told me that a recusant would win this division or win this whole thing. So I mean, he's never wrong.
Well, the recusants were going to rise up. This was our tournament from the start.
It was. We sent our strongest soldiers. One of them's down, but that's okay.
I fell so you guys could rise. That's exactly why I lost.
You were helping us here. But in all serious note, in the beginning, I did say that I wanted to be in the red main division because I said that I wanted to beat Rambler in like an official match. Mostly because like basically I say it for everyone in the server. I mean, he's taught me like everything. When I look at because I watch all the matches, when I look at how people play, basically I wanted to play like Rambler. I did get my little instincts unfortunately get a hold of me and I start doing stupid shit. But the way that Rambler plays is the way that I'd like to play. And I mean, he's helped me become like basically who I am. He's done a lot of coaching with me, and
Maybe a little
yeah.
too much. I I I mean the match was like I think was like I was just outclassed. And like I was saying to my chat, like this is the result of like finding an amazing player like you and like seeing you like get better at this is like was amazing and the fact that I am the victim of it now works
Yeah.
works out like the student beats the master. I'm not a master though, like I'm just like a player who thinks too much.
Yeah.
And it is I mean it's a special thing. I really like the whole thing that we have and being part of this is like great for me. I really love this. I just want to thank everybody for like participating, for like watching, for engaging with the community, and like we are all getting better as a result. Not only as bingo players, Elden Ring players, whatever, but also as human beings. And Shura is one amazing human being that like I have absolutely nothing wrong, nothing bad to say about. Only good things. The very first thing that I told Huzer about Shura was this guy is amazing. This guy is brilliant. Like he's gonna be a
Yeah.
menace. And well, he is a menace, and I fell prey to it. Uh I am very glad that I got the chance of getting a game, like a winning one. It was a lucky one when you look at it, but it was still a win, so I'm glad about that. This one, I'm just pissed that you went for pots, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
really?
the day I decide not to hedge my bets, you go for pots.
I thought
I
you were.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna hedge your bets and like split for both of them, and you were gonna steal paintings off me.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
That's what I should have done, and I didn't. And then I was scrambling the whole game. Losing Knight's Cavalry was disaster because of Dragon Hunter Katana. But I had to get other things right. Like I had to take you out the game. I didn't play that bad. Like I did die to balls. I did die to a Deathbird, but that is minimal. You basically just played better, and I salute you.
thank you. I mean, it means a lot coming from you. You legit, you've helped me all the way.
yeah, you played a great one. It was a great set, Master Kenobi. Unfortunately, you just did not have the high ground today, but you did. It was wonderful. And in all seriousness,
Right.
Rambler, like we were Reddy and I were talking like outside of like the original inventors of bingo, like Domo, Aggie, Chris, etc. Like you have done more for the game than pretty much anybody. You're one of the greatest of all time as a player, and your impact on the sport is unmatched. Um, you're a wonderful dude. I'm so proud to call you my friend. And just
Likewise.
thank you so much for everything. You're the best, Rambler.
Thanks.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Like that means a lot to me coming from all of you. And we'll see you on the I'll see you on the other side. There's other things. We have like a joke here in Brazil. Like there's always other trophies. Like it's a meme. It's a meme thing. Uh, let's see if the next one is better for me. But it doesn't matter. Winning or losing, like I said, like having this, being part of this is its own reward. Like I'm not saying this as just like a loser thing. It's just truly how I feel, and I don't think anybody can beat Shura if he plays like he played against me today. He was on point. He was fast. Three Sentinel Duel was also a snipe. I was killing the second one. Like, but even if I get
Oh,
that,
yeah.
it doesn't matter because I thought you weren't in Altus. Maybe you just arrived, but whatever, doesn't matter. Uh, yeah.
yeah, like I said, I'm very glad I'm kind of like stumped for words now.
Well, thank you so much, Rambler. Really appreciate the hell out of you. Shura as well, congratulations. I do remember, actually, I don't know if I ever told you this. I first heard about Shura from Rambler. He was playing I can't remember if it was a practice match or an official game in a different league or whatever. But Rambler sends me this board and he's like, yo, this guy just did this in his first ever bingo game. I was like, yo, like that's really impressive. Like, who is this cat? And he's just like, he did it with a +0 Omen Killer Cleaver. I was like, wait, what? I was in shock. That truly has come full circle today. Congratulations to you, Shura, and congratulations to you, Rambler. Without your great talent, without your great cat talent scouting, this never would have happened. But again, thank you so much, gentlemen. It was a great set. It was a privilege to call it. Ratty, thank you so much for being here and joining us for it.
It was a joy. It was a great game.
If that being said, if any of you guys want to join our sappy little bingo community, where we all are actually very good friends, and this stuff's hard. It's always hard to see someone lose because I want everyone to win, but that's also part of sports. But if you want to be a part of it, you can join Zero Scratch. We'd love to have you. And with that being said, I will be taking a short break. I'll be back here with Shaka, Mr. Show, in just a second for Strump versus Nexus. So we will see you all very shortly.